Chapter 3353. Thor Ryu and Thor Long went out of the room and went straight to the dungeon. This dungeon was actually the basement of the Bubbly clan. The entrance was under the castle, but they had to go through a life and death passage to reach the dungeon. Open the door. Thor Ryu and Long Long stood in front of an underground entrance of the castle. Thor Ryu ordered Long Long, "Yes, father." Long nodded and took out a strange-shaped iron key from his pocket and placed it in a gap next to the entrance. The shape of the iron key was exactly the same as the gap, it was just right to put it in. After the iron key was placed in, the entrance slowly opened quietly. It turned out that this entrance could only be opened with a key, and it was a one-way opening. No wonder Yu Xiaoka couldn't find the mechanism to open it after searching for a long time. Linny was getting impatient. If he couldn't find the way to open it after waiting for a long time, Linny would just blow it up with a chi bomb. Yu Xiaoka was looking for the mechanism to open when the door in front of her opened quietly. A dazzling light shone through the gap, making Yu Xiaoka, Linny, and Yu Dake stunned at the same time. It was a little strange. Of course, the most strange one was Yu Xiaoka. She didn't think that she found any mechanism, so why did the door suddenly open? Could it be that she accidentally triggered some kind of mechanism and opened this door? Although there were luminous pearls in the basement, the color of the light outside was completely different. It was a bright yellow light. Therefore, when the door opened, Yu Xiaoka's vision didn't react. But Linny was immune to this and directly saw the people outside the door. This surprised Linny. He couldn't be so unlucky that the Bubbly clan just happened to come to the basement, right? This was the warehouse of the Bubbly clan. Linny knew that they put used energy stones here, but among the people who came, there was a peak late-stage heaven-class master. This made Linny very depressed. However, it was too late to hide now. Linny could only secretly use the chant to deal with the conflict that might happen at any time. Mr. Lin, right? Hello, let me introduce myself. I am the current patriarch of the Paoli clan. My name is Thor Ryu. When Thor Ryu saw Lin Yi running his Heart Sutra, he was startled. He knew Lin Yi's ability. If Lin Yi crippled his eldest son, then he wouldn't be able to find a place to cry. Oh, you're the patriarch of the Bubbly clan? You're here. Lin Yi didn't expect that the friendly old man in front of him was actually the patriarch of the Bubbly clan. Moreover, he spoke to him in such a polite manner. I'm sorry, Mr. Lin. Previously, my third son was bewitched by the demon and attacked you. Here, I would like to express my sincerest apologies. I'm sorry. Thor Ryu's attitude was very humble. He knew that this was an opportunity for him and his third son, Tortu. Lin Yi was very surprised by Thor Ryu's apology, but it didn't seem to be fake. In Lin Yi's view, there was no need for the other party to fake it. He nodded and said, Demon? What do you mean? Old Patriarch, did you come here to reconcile with me? Yes, the demon claimed to be from the Central Plains. One of them is called Kong Ming Ming, and the other is called He Yi. They are the disciples of the Central Plains 5 Element sect's acting head, ancestor Shenshin. Thor Ryu didn't hide anything. In the blink of an eye, he sold out Kong Ming Ming. Kong Ming Ming? After listening, Lin Yi's face flashed with a touch of shock. So it's them? 2 people? From the Central Plains? 5 Elements sect? Of course, Yu Dake was also shocked. According to Yu Dake's speculation, these 2 people must be the enemies of the Gu family who came here to look for the Bubbly family. It seems that Mr. Lin knows these 2 people. Thor Ryu's face flashed with a touch of guilt. Yes, they promised to give our Bubbly family a top-grade 4th grade great recovery pill. Then our Bubbly family will help them deal with an enemy. And Mr. Lin should be able to see that my meridians are destroyed. I need a top-grade 4th grade great recovery pill to heal my injury. So, we agreed to this request. But I didn't expect that Mr. Lin is also a member of the 5 Elements sect. Yu Dake didn't expect that Lin Yi was also a member of the 5 Elements sect. If that's the case, then aren't those 2 enemies of Lin Yi's from the same sect? Can Lin Yi avenge him? Wait, since they are from the same sect, why did those people want to deal with Lin Yi? So that's how it is. Lin Yi nodded. The purpose of the old patriarch coming here is, Mr. Lin, let's not beat around the bush. I know about your deeds. If I'm not wrong, you should have a top-grade 4th grade great recovery pill in your hands, right? And more than one? Thor Ryu asked tentatively. And then? Lin Yi didn't admit it. He just asked non-committally. If Mr. Lin can provide us with 1 or 2, I think Bubbly family will be very grateful to Mr. Lin. Thor Ryu said. You mean you and your son's injuries will be healed, right? Lin Yi asked. Yes, that's it. What do you think about it, Mr. Lin? Thor Ryu nodded and asked. Do you think that your son treated me like that and locked me in the dungeon and asked me to save him? Is there something wrong with me? Linny smiled and asked. Of course this is a deal. Mr. Lin, you can tell me what you think. Previously, my son Torto also said that Mr. Lin came to our bubbly family to discuss business. Thor Ryu quickly added. Okay, first help me kill. Linny didn't ask bubbly family to kill Kong Ming Ming because Kong Ming Ming still owes him a chi-gathering pill. Moreover, with his strength, Linny can kill him in a matter of seconds. There is no need for bubbly family to act on his behalf. On the other hand, he is a big problem. Linny isn't sure that he can kill him in a second. If he doesn't do it well, he will lose more than he gains. This. Thor Ryu hesitated for a moment, then said, if Mr. Lin can really provide me with a top-grade 4th-grade great recovery pill, I can satisfy Mr. Lin's request. Chapter 3354. This. Thor Ryu was at a loss for words, his expression was a bit awkward. Its futures, he hasn't given it to me yet. He said that after the 5-element sect has successfully refined it, he will definitely give it to me, and not just one but two. Oh, he still owes me a chi-gathering pill. He has owed me for several months. Do you think his words are credible? Linny curled his lips. This, Mr. Lin is right, but I have been fooled once. I have to learn from my mistakes, right? Thor Ryu was thick-skinned after all. He laughed and admitted his mistake. Linny didn't know what to say. The second condition is about energy stones. Linny said, I need a batch of energy stones. Energy stones? Thor Ryu's expression slightly changed. Mr. Lin, our Paoli clan doesn't have many energy stones left. If this is your request, I'm sorry I can't comply. Although I'm the patriarch of the Paoli clan, I can't just hand over the cultivation resources of the future generations of the Paoli clan. If I become a sinner for all eternity for my own selfish interests, then I'd rather not have this top-grade 4th-grade great recovery pill. Of course, if Mr. Lin gives us 2 top-grade 4th-grade great recovery pills, then I can make the decision to give Mr. Lin a few energy stones. But a whole batch isn't very possible. Mr. Lin, you've seen it as well, the energy stones in this vault that have been used have piled up into a mountain, and it would require a few tens of thousands of years or even 100,000 years to completely recharge a single energy stone. This time is truly too long. Oh, right, I forgot to tell Mr. Lin, the used energy stones can be automatically recharged, but the absorption speed is relatively slow. What I mean is that the Patriarch seems to have misunderstood. I want 1/5 of the energy stones in your vault. Linny said, that's definitely impossible. We currently have 20,000 energy stones in our vault. 1/5 is 4,000 energy stones. That's too much. I can't agree. Thor Ryu immediately said. I'm not done yet. The energy stones I'm referring to aren't the old clan leader's storage, but the energy stones in this basement. Linny said as he pointed at the mountain of discarded energy stones not far away. Mr. Lin, are you talking about used energy stones? You want this? What's the use of this? Thor Ryu froze, not understanding what Linny meant. This is 1/5. Although it was a lot, it was useless. Mr. Lin, you can't be talking about those energy stones that have already been charged with some energy, right? At this point, Thor Ramun's expression suddenly changed. Could it be that Linny had already inspected these energy stones? Do you know that part of it has already been charged with some energy? These are the numbers. That was about 1/5. However, these energy stones had been here for more than 10,000 years. Although the energy contained in each one wasn't particularly much and could only be filled by about 10%, if they were added together, it would still be a huge amount of energy. So, thinking of this, Thor Ryu was a little anxious. Mr. Lin, isn't your appetite too big? Old Patriarch, you misunderstood again. When I said 1/5, I meant 1/5 from this side. I don't want those inside. Lin pointed to the energy stones at the edge. These were all left here in the past few hundred years. What's the use of Mr. Lin taking them? Even if Mr. Lin wants to establish a sect, it will take 100,000 years for these energy stones to take effect. At that time, the situation is uncertain. Thor Ryu really didn't understand what Lin Yi's intention was. Old Patriarch, you don't have to worry about my use. I'm just doing business. What do you think, Old Patriarch? Linny didn't explain much. He directly said, fully recover your and your son's injuries. Can you agree to these 2 conditions? I can agree to it, but I have to give the money at the same time. Thor Ryu also learned his lesson this time and no longer believed in futures. Okay, then heal your injuries first. Linny nodded and said, Old Patriarch, sit in front of me. Is there any explanation for taking the best grade 4 great recover pill? Thor Ryu was slightly stunned. He hadn't seen a grade 4 Great Recover pill before, so he didn't know what Lin Yi meant. However, he still sat in front of Lin Yi. He behaved like a primary school student in class. What did you call Thor? Now protect your father. Don't let anyone disturb us. Otherwise, if your father dies or suffers from cultivation deviation, don't blame me. Lin Yi looked at Thor Dragon and said. He was afraid that the Thor Dragon would attack him while he was healing Thor's sun and moon. Therefore, he needed to deter the Thor Dragon in advance so that it wouldn't dare to act rashly. Of course, Lin Yi said to protect Thor Ryu. Mr. Lin, don't worry, I won't let anyone disturb you. Thor Dragon quickly promised. Okay, give me your wrist, then close your eyes and rest. Lin Yi said to Thor Ryu. Okay. Although Thor Ryu was very strange, he still handed his wrist to Lin Yi. Lin Yi, on the other hand, clasped Thor Ryu's pulse and began to circulate the third level of the Art of Dragon Mastery, slowly repairing Thor Ryu's damaged meridians. Recently, Lin Yi's Art of Dragon Mastery showed signs of breaking through the third level, but Lin Yi always felt that there was still a gap. Lin Yi didn't delay his daily practice, but there was still a gap. Lin Yi thought that it was probably because his time to break through the second level was too short, so it was impossible to break through the third level too quickly. Thor Ryu didn't know what Lin Yi was going to do, but he suddenly discovered that from Lin Yi's pulse, a magical chi was continuously flowing into his body and began to repair the broken meridians in his body. What kind of magical heart sutra is this? Thor Ryu was shocked at this moment. He suddenly opened his eyes and looked at Lin Yi in disbelief. You? Thor Ryu's expression made Thor Dragon tense up. He didn't see Lin Yi give his father a medicinal pill, instead he started to circulate the Heart Sutra. Is Lin Yi trying to harm his father? So he subconsciously became vigilant. Lin Yi, what are you doing? Chapter 3355. Thor Dragon was startled, he also realized that he was too impatient. Lin Yi probably didn't want to harm his father, but rather he was doing something else. His father's expression right now was one of excitement and happiness. Thor Dragon quickly shut up and carefully moved to the door, not daring to speak anymore. Don't be impatient. Lin Yi looked at Lin Yi. In fact, Lin Yi's true chi came from the space inside the jade pendant, and Lin Yi's body was just a conductor, so he didn't need to spend much energy on it. He was just afraid that Thor Dragon would suddenly attack him, catching him off guard. Good. Thor Dragon nodded repeatedly. However, although Thor Dragon didn't speak, the shocked expression on his face became more and more wonderful. He couldn't believe that Lin Yi actually healed him like this. No wonder he and his companions were crippled, but they could still be full of vigor. It turned out that Lin Yi was more powerful than some top grade 4th grade Great Recover pill. Finally, Lin Yi repaired all the meridians in Thor Dragon's body. Lin Yi also released Thor Dragon's wrist. He didn't help Thor Dragon improve his strength, because Thor Dragon hadn't been injured for a long time. He believed that after some time he would be able to recover on his own. It's done. Lin Yi let go and said to Thor Ryu, now that you've seen what I'm capable of, you shouldn't doubt my words anymore. Go kill He and give me a fifth of the energy stones here, I'll heal your son's injuries. Yes, Mr. Lin, I will do it. At this moment, Thor Dragon's body instantly released the domineering aura of a cultivator. Although he couldn't completely reach the peak of the late stage of heaven rank, he could already reach the late stage of heaven rank. He believed that as long as he recovered a little, he would be able to return to his peak state. Of course, Thor Dragon also saw the strength released by his father. While he was happy, he was also very shocked. Lin Yi's ability was too powerful. Just by taking a pulse he can heal injuries? What kind of mantra was this? However, he didn't dare to ask. After all, Lin Yi wasn't a person who was easy to get along with. From his information, this kid would kill someone in a second without saying a word. Even his third brother was killed in a second. He didn't want to provoke Lin Yi again. Mr. Lin, please follow me. I'll arrange a VIP room for you. Thor Dragon respectfully said. At this moment he had already regarded Lin Yi as an honored guest of the Bubbly clan. Moreover, he could also see that Lin Yi wasn't a greedy person. The conditions that he proposed weren't difficult for the Bubbly clan. To tell the truth, the Bubbleleaf clan didn't have much use for discarded energy stones. Who could wait for 100,000 years? At that time, it was unknown whether the Bubbly clan still existed. In the Thor Dragon's opinion, killing He was perfectly normal. He wanted to kill Lin Yi, so Lin Yi killed him instead. There was nothing wrong with that. Mr. Lin, aren't you going to personally kill He? Thor Ryu felt a bit strange. If Lin Yi could seriously injure Thor Dragon, then he should have the strength to kill He. No, it's not good to make a move. Lin Yi waved his hand. It wasn't that he couldn't make a move. He could injure He, but killing him was hard to say. If Lin Yi released a big move and didn't kill He, then he wouldn't be able to use it immediately. It wouldn't be good if his flaws were seen through. Thus, it was better to let the Bubbly clan do it for him. Alright, I'll let Thor Dragon and Thor Shan make a move. They are peak late-stage heaven rank powerhouses, they should be able to get rid of He. Thor Ryu didn't say anything else. In his eyes, if Kang Ming Ming couldn't make a move, then Lin Yi wouldn't be able to make a move either. Your Bubbly clan doesn't have any peak late-stage heaven rank powerhouses? Lin Yi asked after hearing that. There are, but do you need so many powerhouses to deal with He? Thor Ryu asked. This He is stronger than an ordinary peak late-stage heaven rank powerhouse, so I suggest that you attack him together. Bring your other son here, I'll heal him, then you can attack together. Lin Yi said. Thor Ryu was very moved after hearing Lin Yi's words. Lin Yi was really thinking about them, unlike Kang Ming Ming, who pretended to be courteous. Kang Ming Ming gave them a fake reminder. But not only did Lin Yi remind them, but he also wanted to heal Tortu in advance. This meant that Lin Yi was afraid that the Bubbly clan would suffer a loss and help them. Thank you, Mr. Lin. Rest assured, Mr. Lin, I'll immediately find someone to help Mr. Lin pack these energy stones. I'll also select some energy stones that have already been charged. Thor Ryu said. That's not necessary, I don't need to charge them. It's best if there aren't any. Lin Yi waved his hand and said, since we've discussed the conditions, it doesn't matter if I heal your son a step earlier. Thank you, Mr. Lin. Thor Ryu saw that Lin Yi refused his good intentions, so he didn't force him. He nodded and went to find Tortu. Tortu was disheartened. Although he knew that his father got him a top-grade 4th-grade great rejuvenating pill from Kang Ming Ming, but to be honest, was it that easy to refine a top-grade 4th-grade great rejuvenating pill? Kang Ming Ming agreed, but he didn't know when he would be able to refine it. Tortu didn't think that he would be so unlucky. Not only did he fail to kill Lin Yi, but he was also crippled. However, when Thor Ryu pushed the door and entered Tortu's room, Tortu suddenly froze. Father, your strength. Thor Ryu didn't hide his strength, so Tortu could easily feel that Thor Ryu's strength was at the late stage of heaven rank. This made him very shocked. Your strength has recovered? Kang Ming Ming gave you the pill? It's not Kang Ming Ming, it's Lin Yi. Thor Ryu sighed and told Tortu about what happened before. After Tortu heard it, a glimmer of hope flashed in his eyes. If it was before, he definitely wouldn't believe that Lin Yi had such a magical ability to heal other people's injuries. But now that his father was standing in front of him, Tortu couldn't help but believe it. Can I also recover? Tortu didn't expect happiness to come so quickly. Chapter 3356. Don't worry, father, I don't have any enmity with him. All of this was caused by Kang Ming Ming. After I recover, I'll directly deal with Kang Ming Ming. Tortu said hatefully. Tortu and Lin Yi arrived at Lin Yi's resting room. Lin Yi didn't say any nonsense and directly started healing Tortu. Thor Ryu and Thor Dragon stood on the side to protect him. When they saw that Tortu had recovered to his peak late-stage heaven rank, they cried tears of joy. These past few days had been spent in darkness for the Bubbly clan, and now they'd finally welcomed the light. Knowing how to repay kindness, Thor Ryu didn't rest. Instead, he took Thor Dragon, Thor Shan, Tortu, and the 2 elders of the Bubbly clan to He and Kang Ming Ming's room. When Kang Xiaoming opened the door, he saw a large group of people standing in front of the door. He was puzzled. Old master, you came here? Why did you bring so many people? What are you doing in such a grand manner? Nothing. Thor Ryu faintly smiled and stepped into Kang Ming Ming's room. The 5 people behind him also rushed in. No. Your strength. Kang Ming Ming suddenly pointed at Thor Ryu and exclaimed, how come you aren't a cripple anymore? Surprised? There is something even more surprising. Thor Ryu suddenly shouted. As he spoke, his figure flickered slightly, and the 5 people behind him charged straight at Little One. Little One's pupils slightly shrank. He hadn't expected the Bubbly clan to attack them, but he quickly reacted and put up a defense. But what made him helpless was that the 5 people in front of him were actually at the peak of the late stage of the Heaven Realm. If he was facing a peak late-stage heaven rank expert, he might be able to win. After all, he was from the 5 Elements sect. His strength was stronger than other cultivators of the same rank. But now, with 5 people attacking together, no matter how strong he wasn't their match. Let's talk this out. Little One retreated. Under the combined attack of these 5 people, he had no confidence in surviving. However, Tol Dragon, Tol Shan, Tol Tu, and the 2 elders didn't intend to explain or stop. The 5 of them simultaneously activated their incantations, drew out a magical weapon that seemed to be made of the bones of some wild beast, and smashed it towards Little One at the same time. The Bubbly clan's weapon was the bone of a type of spirit beast, and it was slightly different from the ones used in the cultivation world of the Central Plains. Of course, this was related to their clan. Let alone using a heaven-ranked divine weapon, even if he didn't use it, Little One wouldn't be a match for Lin Yi. After Little One's divine weapon was taken away by Lin Yi still hadn't returned it. The current situation caused Little One to want to cry. Lin Yi wanted to kill him. Furthermore, they were all ruthless moves, catching Little One off guard. Although he had true chi protecting his body, with 5 top-notch experts attacking him at the same time, no matter how he defended, he would still die. There was no hope of survival. Therefore, Little One was anxious. He gritted his teeth. Even if he had to die, he had to drag someone down with him. Boom! The 5 experts of the Bubbly clan hit He-Yi at the same time, and the bone weapon smashed into He-Yi's body with a loud bang. And in the instant that Little One was hit, he also moved. He suddenly activated his strongest martial technique, the 5 Elements Reincarnation Fist, and directly attacked Toll Dragon, who was at the forefront. Even if I die, I'll drag someone down with me. Little One's expression was fierce. He never thought that he would die here, but since he couldn't live, he would drag someone down with him with his last breath. Toll Shan attacked with all his strength. He didn't expect that He-Yi could still struggle under the joint attack of several people. Although he quickly activated his incantations and used true chi to protect his body, it was already too late. Moreover, He-Yi's 5 Elements Reincarnation Fist was one of the strongest moves of the 5 Elements sect, second only to the 5 Elements 8 Trigrams Palm. However, the higher the level of the cultivator of the 5 Elements 8 Trigrams Palm, the disadvantages of the 5 Elements 8 Trigrams Palm became apparent. He only had 10 moves, so an Earth-grade cultivator could use it, but a Heaven-grade cultivator would have no advantage. The 5 Elements Reincarnation Fist was different, but at the Earth grade, it wasn't as powerful as the 5 Elements 8 Trigrams Palm. Of course, this was also referring to the current 5 Elements Reincarnation Fist. The current 5 Elements Reincarnation Fist was actually an incomplete martial technique. Originally, only those who possessed the 5 elements could cultivate it. Just like the 5 Elements 8 Trigrams Palm, all attributes had to be fused together in order to display the greatest power. However, although the 5 Elements sect was called the 5 Elements sect, how many people possessed the 5 elements? It was no wonder that Patriarch Shenshin valued Taganlong and Tianchan so much. In the past, there was a talented senior in the 5 Elements sect who modified the 5 Elements Reincarnation Fist into one of the 5 elements. Any single attribute could be activated and used, but its power was greatly weakened. However, it was still much stronger than ordinary martial techniques. It was just that every time it was activated, it would drain all the physical strength and true energy in the body. Therefore, unless it was absolutely necessary, Little E would not use it. Now, he was definitely going to die, so there was no need to leave any way out for himself. The original 5 Elements Reincarnation Fist was very powerful, even more powerful than the 5 Elements 8 Trigrams Palm. However, it had been lost. After the senior took away the 5 Elements Reincarnation Fist to modify, he took the original 5 Elements Reincarnation Fist's mantra and went into seclusion. He wanted to perfect his modified 5 Elements Reincarnation Fist and see if it could become a martial technique that could be activated by cultivators with 2 or 3 attributes. However, that senior never came out of his closed-door cultivation. Instead, he went berserk when he was modifying the secret manual, causing his body to explode. Even the original version of the 5 Elements 8 Trigrams Palm secret manual was destroyed. From then on, this martial arts technique was lost. Otherwise, Patriarch Shenshin would definitely let Taganlong and Tianchan practice the original 5 Elements Reincarnation Fist. Boom. The Thor dragon was sent flying by He-Yi's critical strike before he died. He crashed into the door and directly broke it. Then he fell into the corridor, bleeding from all 7 orifices. It was obvious that he had suffered a very serious internal injury. He laughed out loud and collapsed on the spot. Satisfied, he rushed to the underworld. As for Kong Ming, he was scared silly. He didn't know what had happened. Why did Thor Dragon Sun and Moon get someone to kill He-Yi as soon as he entered the door? I didn't provoke him. He hid at the side, shivering, not knowing what to do. Chapter 3357. Seeing the dying Thor Dragon on the ground, Thor Moon quickly took out a jade bottle, took out a level 3 Great Restoring Pill and put it into Thor Dragon's mouth. After taking the Great Restoring Pill, Thor Dragon's complexion improved slightly, but his injuries didn't recover. He can only say that he won't die for a while. Father? I can't do it. I didn't expect he to use such a move before he died. Don't worry too much, Thor Dragon. Hold on, Mr. Lin can save you. Thor Moon said anxiously. My injuries are too serious. Thor Dragon smiled bitterly. And why would Mr. Lin save me? Thor Dragon's words stunned Thor Moon. Then he remembered that he made a deal with Lin Yi. Lin Yi healed his and Tortu's injuries in order to kill He in exchange for wasted energy stones. Now that Thor Dragon is here, will Lin Yi save him? However, no matter what, Thor Moon still wants to try. He picked up Thor Dragon and said to the two elders of Bubbly Clan, Thor Elder, Thor Jr., look after Kong Ming Ming, don't let him escape. Yes. The two elders nodded. Thor Shan, Tortu, come with me. Thor Moon said and quickly ran to Lin Yi's room. A sudden knock on the door made Lin Yi slightly stunned. He opened the door and saw Thor Moon holding Thor Dragon. This surprised Lin Yi. Old Patriarch Mr. Thor Dragon is? Mr. Lin, Thor Dragon was seriously injured by He's last attack. I hope Mr. Lin can help. Thor Moon said. Lin Yi looked at Thor Dragon. Although Thor Dragon's injury is serious, it should be controlled by the elixir. He won't die for a while. However, Lin Yi didn't agree immediately. Instead he said, Old Patriarch, do you think that I don't need to pay the price for healing others? Healing you and Tortu cost me a lot of stamina and true chi, and my strength level almost dropped. Thor Moon just remembered that Lin Yi used chi to heal others. It's no wonder how much chi can a cultivator have. How precious was their physical strength and true chi. Otherwise, energy stones wouldn't be priceless. Lin Yi had to pay a price as well, so Thor Sun and Moon asking Lin Yi to heal the Thor Dragon was a bit too shameless. Of course, it's not that Lin Yi is deliberately making things difficult for them, it's because Lin Yi and the Bubbly Clan only have a business relationship. If the Bubbly Clan didn't do anything to him at the beginning and imprisoned him in the dungeon, then Lin Yi will do them a favor. But now the Bubbly Clan first cooperated with Kong Ming Ming, seeing that Lin Yi is strong, then they cooperated with Lin Yi, so the Bubbly Clan's position in Lin Yi's heart fell, and Lin Yi won't be so sincere to them. Sometimes it's necessary to be careful. Mr. Lin, if you save Thor Dragon, what's the price? Thor Moon is not stupid. Since he made 2 deals with Lin Yi, he might as well make another one. He has already been killed by us. Killing He was originally the condition we agreed on. Lin Yi shook his head faintly. If I save him, the loss of true chi is too much. We can use 10 full energy stones in exchange. Thor Moon hesitated for a moment and said, I don't need full energy stones. Lin Yi refused. Do you have anything else? Then, there are things like medicinal pills. Mr. Lin probably doesn't need them. Thor Ryu suddenly thought of something when he said this. Didn't Lin Yi say before that Kong Ming Ming still owes Lin Yi a chi-gathering pill? Does Lin Yi need this chi-gathering pill? If that's the case, thinking of this, Thor Moon quickly said, Our Bubbly Clan still has a chi-gathering pill. I don't know if Mr. Lin needs it. Chi-gathering pill is not very useful for the Bubbly Clan. They have a lot of energy stones to cultivate. They don't need a chi-gathering pill at all. Originally they exchanged a few chi-gathering pills, so they didn't continue to exchange. Now they only have one left. Chi-gathering pill? Lin Yi raised his eyebrows. He didn't expect the Bubbly Clan to have such a thing, so he slowly nodded and said, Chi-gathering pill is fine, but you should also know that the value of a 3rd level pill is not enough for me to take action. I understand that, Mr. Lin. Our Powly Clan will engrave your kindness in our hearts. Consider it as our Bubbly Clan owes Mr. Lin a favor. If Mr. Lin needs anything in the future, as long as our Bubbly Clan can do it, we will definitely do it. Thor Moon said. Good, you protect Thor Dragon. Lin Yi said. He reached out and buckled Thor Dragon's pulse, then started to circulate the art of dragon mastery. Although Lin Yi took action because of the chi-gathering pill, after all, the Bubbly Clan hasn't taken out the chi-gathering pill yet. Lin Yi has already taken action. This made Thor Moon very grateful. Although Lin Yi's words are complicated, treating Thor Dragon is really a piece of cake. After Thor Dragon recovered, Lin Yi loosened his hand and said, It's done. Thor Moon was about to ask Thor Dragon how he feels, but Thor Dragon suddenly jumped up and bowed deeply in front of Lin Yi. Then he cupped his fist and said, Thank you, Mr. Lin, for saving my life. This one will never forget it. From now on, Thor Dragon's life belongs to Mr. Lin. The Bubbly Clan owes Mr. Lin a favor. I, Thor Dragon, will follow Mr. Lin's lead. Thor Moon looked at his eldest son. In the end, he didn't say anything. He understood his eldest son's character. He is a person who knows how to repay kindness. He also knows that the value of a chi-gathering pill is not enough to exchange for his life. To be honest, if the Bubbly clan wanted, a chi gathering pill and an energy stone would be enough. They wouldn't even need 10 energy stones. However, Lin Yi didn't ask for 10 energy stones, instead he asked for a chi gathering pill. This shows that Lin Yi might need this thing, so he gave it to the Bubbly clan without much trouble. Hehe, how is Kong Ming Ming? Lin Yi doesn't need Thor Dragon for the time being. He is far away in the foreign land, far away from Lin Yi. Distant water can't put out a nearby fire, so Lin Yi doesn't need him to do anything for the time being. Chapter 3358. Let him go. Lin Yi thought for a moment and said, even if he has chi gathering pills, he intends to let Kong Ming Ming go. Even if Lin Yi doesn't need chi gathering pills, he still has Han Jingjing and others. Oh, okay. Although Lin Yi wondered why Lin Yi wanted to let Kong Ming Ming go, since Lin Yi has decided, he didn't ask much. He ordered Tortu to find chi gathering pills for Lin Yi. Thor went to release Kong Ming Ming, while he and Thor Dragon sat in Lin Yi's room and talked to Lin Yi. This time, I'm afraid I can't take all the energy stones back. My car can't fit them. Lin Yi said. Let's leave them here for the time being. I will come back to get them when I have time. Ah, Mr. Lin, are you leaving? After listening to Lin Yi's words, Thor Ryu was shocked. Yeah, there are still a lot of things to do at home. I have achieved my purpose of coming here this time, so I have to go back. Lin Yi said, if there's anything you need, you can call me or come find me. Thank you, Mr. Lin. Lin Yi was very moved. Lin Yi's words are equivalent to a promise. In the future, if someone in the Bubbly family has their meridians severed, it is estimated that Lin Yi will not sit idly by. Perhaps Thor Dragon's attitude moved Lin Yi. In short, Lin Yi can be regarded as a good karma. Kong Ming Ming was released and even his car was returned to him. They even helped him fill up the gas. This made Kong Ming a little puzzled. He didn't know what the Bubbly family wanted to do. Old Patriarch, what do you mean by this? You killed my senior brother, don't you want to cooperate with our Five Elements sect? In fact, Kong Ming Ming has vaguely guessed the gist of the matter. It is estimated that the Bubbly family is relying on Lin Yi. Didn't Thor Ryu and Tortu recover from their injuries? Even Thor Dragon, who was beaten by Xiao Yi, became fine. If Kong Ming Ming still doesn't know what is going on, then he is really a fool. He was no longer the Kong Xiaoming who ate dog shit. He'd matured in this period of time, and that was why he was puzzled. Why did Lin Yi let him go? Why did you let him go? Kong Ming Ming didn't say anything, he just retreated to the side. Just as Kong Ming Ming was about to say something, a familiar voice sounded. The owner of this voice was Lin Yi. Kong Ming Ming, you and I can be considered as old acquaintances. We can also be considered as fellow disciples. So this time I will let you go. I hope you can refine the chi gathering pill as soon as possible. Boss Lin Yi, thank you so much. Although Kong Ming Ming said so, he hated Lin Yi to the core. He thought, refining gathering chi pills? I'll refine an extreme chi gathering pill for you and eat you to death. I won't send you off. Send my regards to Patriarch Xianxin. Take Xiao Yi's corpse back. To be honest, I hate him. If you came by yourself, you might not have died. After Lin Yi finished speaking, he turned around and left. Kong Ming Ming knew about the grudge between Lin Yi and Xiao Yi. Xiao Yi once beat Lin Yi up like a dead dog. It was reasonable for Lin Yi to find an opportunity to kill Xiao Yi. However, since Lin Yi let him go, there was no need for Kong Ming to stay any longer. He got in the car and quickly drove away. Five Elements sect. These days, good things happened one after another for Patriarch Xianxin. There was good news from Kong Ming Ming that he had imprisoned Lin Yi. There was also good news from Dr. Benjamin too. The technical problems of the second-grade automatic medicinal cauldron had been solved. It had been replicated and could be put into mass production. At this moment, Kong Ming Ming called. Patriarch Xianxin picked up the phone. Xiaoming, I was just about to look for you. I have good news for you. Father-in-law, I have bad news for you. Kong Ming Ming said with grief and indignation. Bad news? Patriarch Xianxin was stunned. His good mood instantly fell to the bottom. Then tell me first, the Bubbly clan changed sides at the last minute? They actually cooperated with Lin Yi. They killed eldest senior brother. Kong Ming Ming said with a bitter face, if it wasn't for Lin Yi counting on me to refine the chi gathering pill for him, I'm afraid I would have been left there too. What? The Bubbly clan doesn't want the top-grade 4th-grade Great Recover pill anymore? Patriarch Xianxin was shocked. Lin Yi healed the injuries of Thor Ryu and Tortu. Lin Yi has a magical ability in this aspect. We learned about it before. Who knew that the Bubbly clan knew about it? In the end, Kong Ming Ming explained with a bitter smile. Then I understand. Patriarch Xianxin sighed after listening. He vaguely knew about Lin Yi's ability, but he didn't study it much. After all, a person could only cultivate a limited number of mantras. It was useless to study other things. Moreover, if Lin Yi could cultivate it, the people of Five Elements sect might not be able to cultivate it. Otherwise there would be no need for Tag on Long. Come back quickly. It's good that you're fine. Otherwise little 11th will be a widow. He will have a hard life. I'm on my way back. By the way, father-in-law, what is the good news you mentioned before? Kang Ming suddenly thought of the good news that Patriarch Xianxin had mentioned before. Good news? I'm not in the mood to talk about it now. Actually, it's like this, Patriarch Xianxin said. Elder Xianxin said, Professor Benjamin Tu has already cracked Lin Yi's second-grade automatic medicine cauldron. We can now mass-produce it. That's great. We can't kill Lin Yi for the time being. We can attack Lin Yi from this aspect. Kang Ming was immediately full of morale when he heard this. And I think so too. We can only do this for the time being. Patriarch Xianxin said helplessly. By the way, father-in-law, actually little first death is not necessarily a bad thing. Kang Ming suddenly said. Oh? What do you mean? Patriarch Xianxin was a little stunned. You mean because of little 11th? Previously little first also liked little 11th. That was why Patriarch Xianxin had such a guess. After all, if the two of them were to look into it, they could be regarded as love rivals. Chapter 3359. Zhao Ming, what you said makes a lot of sense. Patriarch Xianxin didn't think so much before. Now that he heard Kang Ming's analysis, he felt that it was really the case. Lin Yi didn't have the ability to kill a peak late-stage heaven stage great perfection expert. This was good news. At least Lin Yi wasn't invincible. After hearing this news, Patriarch Xianxin was relieved. As long as Lin Yi wasn't invincible, then there was a way to deal with Lin Yi. So I think that we should hurry up and refine that pill. Let Lin Yi eat it and die, hee. Kang Ming suggested. And after you come back, you will carry out this matter. Patriarch Xianxin said. Patriarch Xianxin hung up the phone and sighed slightly. Then he shouted to the door, Little waiter, come in for a while. Master, are you looking for me? After a while, little waiter pushed the door and walked in. Your eldest senior brother, Little Yi, has fallen. Now you are the eldest among our Five Elements sect brothers. You have to shoulder this responsibility. Patriarch Xianxin sighed. When did this happen? Little waiter was shocked. Today. Patriarch Xianxin said. That's not right? The disciple who was in charge of cleaning the Soul Jade token room just reported to me. Everything was normal. Eldest senior brother's Soul Jade token didn't shatter. Little waiter said strangely, Master, is this news accurate? It was sent back by Kang Ming. It can't be wrong. Patriarch Xianxin was also stunned. Get someone to bring Little Yi's Soul Jade token to me immediately. Yes. Little waiter didn't dare to delay. He quickly nodded and went to prepare. After a while, little waiter quickly came to Patriarch Xianxin's room with Little Yi's Soul Jade token. However, his expression was a little strange. You brought it? Let me see. Patriarch Xianxin said eagerly. Master, first senior brother's Soul Jade tablet isn't shattered, but there's a crack on it. If you don't look closely you won't be able to tell. I only noticed it when I took it. What does it mean? The waiter respectfully handed Little Yi's Soul Jade tablet to Patriarch Xianxin. This. Patriarch Xianxin took the Soul Jade tablet and was a little dumbfounded. This was a secret technique of the Five Elements sect that had been passed down for thousands of years. However, if it was broken, then it was broken. If a person died, then the Soul Jade tablet would also shatter. There was no suspense about this. Patriarch Xianxin had never seen such a situation where the Soul Jade tablet was cracked but not broken. Did this mean that the person was dead or alive? Or not completely dead? What did that mean? Patriarch Black Earth was also a little confused. Alright, you can leave first. I'll study it myself. Patriarch Xianxin frowned. After the waiter left, he called Kang Ming again. Zhao Ming, where are you? Are you sure your eldest senior brother is dead? Where is his body? Patriarch Xianxin asked anxiously. I'm on the way back. I'm sure he's dead. I saw him being beaten to death with my own eyes. As for his body, it's in the trunk of my car. Kang Ming said. Then stop the car immediately and check on Little Yi's situation. Is he still alive and can be saved? Patriarch Xianxin immediately ordered. Okay, I'll go take a look now. Kang Ming followed Patriarch Xianxin's instructions and parked the car. Then he got out of the car and opened the trunk. However, when he opened it, Kang Ming was shocked. He almost sat on the ground. Dumbfounded, he stared at the trunk of the car, speechless. Zhao Ming, what's wrong with you? Did you see it? Patriarch Shenshin asked anxiously. Father. Father-in-law, eldest senior brother's body is gone. Kang Ming exclaimed in horror. What? Gone? What do you mean? You lost it? Patriarch Shenshin frowned. No, I saw the Paoli clan put the body in the car with my own eyes. I didn't stop the car along the way and I didn't open the trunk door. But eldest senior brother's body just disappeared into thin air. Kang Ming was scared out of his wits at the moment. He wasn't afraid of dead people, but he was afraid of supernatural things. Wasn't this too scary? How about this? Go back the way you came and see if you dropped it on the road. Patriarch Shenshin was also confused by Kang Ming's words. This person's body could suddenly disappear? Okay. Although Kang Ming was afraid, he had to bite the bullet and turn the car around. This matter was too mysterious. How could the body disappear just like that? And, call me immediately after you find it. Patriarch Shenshin also felt that this matter was really unusual. Wasn't this too unexpected? Lin Yi filled the back of the jeep with energy stones and left under the cheers of the Paoli clan. Deku, do you still want to go back to your old home? Lin Yi asked Deku, who was driving. No need, we've taken everything we need. Let's go back quickly. Mr. Lin, you have something important to do, right? Deku shook his head. Then let's go back directly. Lin Yi didn't hesitate. He really did want to go back as soon as possible and cure Xinyan's body. After some hesitation, Lin Yi took out the chi-gathering pill from the Paoli clan and gave it to Xiaoka. Xiaoka will find a place later. I'll raise your strength to Earth class late phase peak, and then you can use this pill to ascend to Sky class. Xiaoka froze at Lin Yi's action. I'll use the chi-gathering pill? Ascend to Sky class? Even if you're a male thief, you don't have to be this nice to me. You need to raise your strength right now, so you should use it yourself. Earth class late phase peak is already very good for me, you don't have to be Sky class. Xiaoka, you misunderstand. I'm not being nice to you without limits. You can help me if you reach Sky class. This was the result of Lin Yi's careful consideration. Xiaoka, my attacks aren't weak anymore. Even if I can't kill someone at Sky class late phase peak, I can still hurt them. My defense is a lot weaker though. If I'd been hit by Torta earlier, we'd all be dead by now. If you could provide me with defense then, we'd be in an invincible position. I'll have a lot of enemies in the future, so you can stay by my side and provide me with defense after you reach Sky class. I'm being a bit selfish. Chapter 3360. Xiaoka felt that Lin Yi's words made sense. If she had the ability, why wouldn't she help Lin Yi? Especially after knowing that Lin Yi was the male thief, Xiaoka had no reason to reject him. But Xiaoka was hesitant to stay by Lin Yi's side all the time. I want to stay with you, but I can't let go of the orphanage. The orphanage is on the right track and there won't be any shortage of funds anymore. So you have to let go when it's time. Let Ken and the others manage it. You can't stay with the orphanage forever. Lin Yi said. Since you practiced your family's secret art, naturally there would be more difficult challenges. That's right. The orphanage is on the right track. In the past, I could manage the small orphanage in an orderly manner. But now the orphanage has more and more ancillary welfare industries, and my ability is a little stretched. That's right. I didn't go to school and I'm not as cultured as Ken and the others. They're learning business management now. Our orphanage may be a welfare organization, but we can't accept donations endlessly. We need to set up a foundation and make money ourselves. This is the future direction of the orphanage, and my sneaky ways are no longer suitable. Xiaoka laughed at herself. She suddenly felt that she couldn't help much with the construction of the orphanage anymore. Or, her dream had come true and she had nothing to worry about now. You can't say that. You've contributed a lot. At least without you the orphanage wouldn't exist. Without you, I wouldn't have invested in the orphanage, so I suggested to Fatty Lai that you guys set up a foundation to call it Xiaoka Foundation. Lin Yi smiled. I don't think that's a good idea. Xiaoka was shocked. It's decided then. I think it's good. Lin Yi waved his hand and changed the topic. He turned to Deku and said, Deku, stop the car, I'll help you Xiaoka increase her strength. Although Lin Yi didn't think that there would be any danger on the way back, it was better to be safe than sorry. Since Yu Xiaoka could reach Sky Class now, he'd help her reach Sky Class first. If they met any masters, Lin Yi would be able to deal with them easily. In the past, Xiaoka had imagined that the orphanage wouldn't need the money she stole anymore. She imagined that Ken and the kids would grow up. She imagined that she would meet her own family one day, and she imagined that she would be with the male thief one day, but he had never imagined that he could become a heaven-rank expert. How unreachable was that? If her master wasn't, how could she be? But now she had really become a heaven-rank initial stage expert, and in just a few hours she had completed such a magnificent transformation. Although it was very painful to break through from Earth-class late-phase peak to Sky-class early phase, the moment she became a Sky-class expert, it was as easy as being reborn. Xiaoke was very happy. Happy that she could help Lin Yi in the future and become Lin Yi's helper. Happy that she was also a Sky-class expert and could maintain her youth forever. She didn't have to worry about aging before Lin Yi. Xiaoke, let's test it. Lin Yi said and turned to Deku. Deku, attack me with all your strength and then I'll use Nua's Sky Mending Art to defend. I'll see the effect. Oh, this is my first time using it. I may be a Sky-class early phase expert but I've never used it before. What if it doesn't work? Wouldn't you be injured? Xiaoke was shocked. It's okay. With Deku's strength, it's not enough to hurt me. Lin Yi waved his hand. Deku, attack with all your strength. I'm ready. Okay. Deku knew Lin Yi's strength. During the Hidden House Summit, Lin Yi was very strong. He was almost killed but Lin Yi was fine. It was enough to show that Lin Yi wasn't bragging. He had real strength. Among them, Xiaoke was the most nervous. She didn't have any confidence in herself. She was like a beginner when it came to spiritual practicing. She couldn't guarantee that she would succeed. Mr. Lin, I'm coming. Udake took a deep breath and started channeling his practitioner's arts, activating the strongest move he could muster. Of course, this strongest move was very normal in Lin Yi's eyes. The techniques he'd come into contact with were all very strong, and his enemies were all strong people like Zhang Naipeo and Xiao Yi. No matter how strong Udake was, he wouldn't be able to do anything to Lin Yi. Plus, he was an Earth class and his techniques weren't that strong. Boom! Deku's fists turned into palms, attacking Lin Yi's chest with all his strength. He didn't hesitate at all. This was also because he trusted Lin Yi. He knew that his moves wouldn't cause too much damage to Lin Yi. Xiaoke was channeling the Nuwa Sky Mending Arts chant, and seeing her brother's attack, she quickly channeled it with all her might. Her hands kept moving, drawing a beautiful afterimage in the air. It was as if she was weaving a huge net, and the energy was released from her hands all of a sudden. A big net made of pure energy instantly blocked in front of her and Lin Yi. Deku's attack came at the same time. He attacked Lin Yi with his palms, but it hit the big net in front of him. There was a loud bang, but he suddenly stopped in front of the net. This big net was like a wall blocking his attack. The big net shook twice but it didn't break. Xiaoke was a Sky class now, and the arts she channeled with all her strength wasn't something an Earth class could break. Deku didn't stop. He started channeling his arts again but the result was the same. His palms hit the big net again but it didn't hurt Lin Yi at all. Amazing. Lin Yi nodded, signaling Deku and Xiaoke to stop. Xiaoke, this arts of yours is as powerful as the legends say. In the future when you're with Mr. Lin, you'll be invincible. One attack, one defense, you'll kill whoever you see. Deku shouted in surprise. The Fishman's new book was published. It was called Ultimate Cultivation Young Master. Everyone please collect it and recommend it. There was a direct train in the School Beauties book. Chapter 3361. Instant kill anyone I see? Doesn't that sound really strong? Xiaoke didn't think that she could help Lin Yi. Yeah, I thought of the legend of the martial arts world, the twin killers of King Kong. Right, Mr. Lin, you're pretty much the same as them now. Xiaoke, what's wrong? Udake was excited when he realized that Xiaoke's face was extremely pale. She was swaying as if she was about to fall on the ground. This made Udake jump in fright. Xiaoke only managed to say, before falling on the ground with a thud. Lin Yi was shocked as well. There was still Wang Xinyan who fainted at home. He hoped that Xiaoke didn't have some weird illness or else she wouldn't have fainted. Lin Yi quickly put his hand on Xiaoke's wrist to check her pulse, checking her body's condition. After checking, Lin Yi let out a sigh of relief. Xiaoke's body was fine. She just used up too much energy and fainted. Lin Yi used the art of dragon mastery to replenish Xiaoke's energy. After a while, Xiaoke woke up. Xiaoke, how do you feel? Udake saw that Xiaoke woke up and sighed in relief. It's nothing. I just felt really tired and fainted. Xiaoke shook her head. Xiaoke's mantra, the higher the level of defense and the longer it takes, the more physical strength and true energy it consumes. Previously, I'm afraid Xiaoke used the mantra according to the highest level of defense she could display, right? Lin Yi had a rough guess. Xiaoke's practitioner's arts weren't hard to understand. The higher the defense, the more energy Xiaoke had to expend. This was common sense, just like Lin Yi's Fire 8 trigram palms. Xiaoke fainted when she used up all her energy. Yes, I was afraid of hurting you. Xiaoke nodded. Lin Yi, you can still transfer energy to me? Doesn't that mean I can keep using my defense? Yes. Lin Yi nodded and said, however, in battle we will have to face enemies at any time, so it will be difficult for us to have the time to replenish your physical strength and true energy, unless it is a group battle. That's true. Xiaoke nodded. It seems like I still need to work hard. Work hard? Even if you work hard now, you won't be able to absorb the spiritual qi of heaven and earth. Your meridians have already accepted the pure energy from me in the qi gathering pill. They have already developed antibodies against this kind of thin spiritual qi of heaven and earth. Lin Yi smiled bitterly as he shook his head. If you want to improve further, you'll have to continue using qi amassing pills, or wait for me to step into the heavenly way. It's just that the heavenly way is a realm of nothingness. I don't know when I'll be able to enter the heavenly way, and it's hard to say whether the realm of the heavenly way exists or not. Don't we still have energy stones? I can use energy stones to train myself. Xiaoke said optimistically. That's right, how could I forget about energy stones? Lin Yi took out 2 energy stones from the jade space. What surprised Lin Yi was that these 2 stones were fully charged. It had only been a few days, but they were already fully charged. It seemed like the jade space's charging speed was very fast. Perhaps it wouldn't even take a few days. Lin Yi didn't check it before. Dake, you're already in Earth class late phase peak now. Without the qi gathering pill, I can't help you increase your strength. These 2 energy stones, you and Xiaoke each take 1. Use it for your own training, and when you're done, come find me to exchange. Thank you, Mr. Lin. Dake took the energy stones gratefully. He didn't reject it because he understood Lin Yi. He could only remember this kindness in his heart. We're family, so let's not talk too much. Since I've made my relationship with Xiaoke clear, then you're also my big brother. Lin Yi smiled. I wouldn't dare to accept that. Mr. Lin is my savior. Dake shook his head. It's up to you. It's just a title. Lin Yi waved his hand nonchalantly. Dake, how about this? You and Xiaoke can stay in the villa when you get back. You'll be my helper. All right, Mr. Lin. I'll listen to your arrangements. Dake nodded. In his heart, Lin Yi's kindness to him was something that he couldn't repay in this lifetime. He had to repay this kindness. After the test, Lin Yi prepared to get in the car. But just as the 3 of them got in, they saw Kang Mingming's car coming back. Lin Yi frowned. What was this kid coming back for? Whoosh. Lin Yi appeared in front of Kang Mingming's car and stopped it. Oh my god, you scared me to death. Kang Mingming suddenly braked. Otherwise he would almost hit Lin Yi. He wasn't afraid of killing Lin Yi. He was afraid that Lin Yi would kill him. With Lin Yi's strength level, he could directly smash his car into a pile of scrap iron. He was also an alchemist. If his defense was not good, he might die. Boss Lin Yi, what are you doing? Don't you know that you almost killed me? If I die, who will refine pills for you? Why are you back? Lin Yi ignored Kang Mingming. With his reaction speed of Heaven Stage, it was easy to stop the car in an instant. If they really hit, it could only be said that Kang Mingming was unlucky, so he asked directly. Don't mention it. Little Yi's body is gone. I'll see if it fell somewhere. I'll go back and look for it. Kang Mingming said with a face full of bad luck. The body is gone? Lin Yi closed his eyes and used his perception to sense Kang Mingming's car. There wasn't Little Yi's body inside. Kang Mingming wasn't lying. Yeah, that's it. I'll go back and look for it. Bye. Kang Mingming naturally didn't want to tell Lin Yi the specific reason. This was an internal matter of their sect. There was no need to tell Lin Yi. Oh, go look for it then. Lin Yi nodded and got in the car. He didn't care about Kang Mingming. He could do whatever he wanted. Even if he went back to the Bubbly family, they wouldn't betray him. On the way back, there were no accidents. Xiaoke's defense didn't need to be used, but what surprised Lin Yi was that he received a call from the hidden House Yu. The call was from Yu Xing, the old ancestor of House Yu. Elder Yu, hello. Lin Yi picked up the phone, confused. Actually, with Lin Yi's current strength, there was no need to respect Yu Xing at all. Plus, Yu Xing didn't have a good attitude towards him in the past, even looking for trouble. Chapter 3362. But in any case, Yu Xing was Yu Ning's grandfather. Lin Yi didn't want Yu Ning to be sad, so he maintained enough respect for Yu Xing. Young hero Lin, do you have time? Can you come to the hidden House Yu? I have something to discuss with you. Yu Xing sighed in his heart. He didn't want to have anything to do with Lin Yi, but he couldn't avoid Lin Yi. Especially with Lin Yi's current strength, he almost stood at the peak of the training world. Even in the ancient level, there were only a few who dared to challenge Lin Yi. Even Yu Xing's backer was having an ambiguous attitude right now. Yu Xing had no choice but to face Lin Yi head-on. What he was about to do next was impossible to let Linny go. If Linny didn't agree, then everything would be for naught. Linny was slightly stunned. He didn't expect Yu Xing to invite him to discuss something. But Linny was eager to return home. He wanted to give the energy stone to Wang Xinyan, so Linny hesitated and said, "Is it something important? Is it urgent? If it's not urgent, then I'll visit you after a while. How about it?" "It's about Xiaoning," Yu Xing said. "Xiaoning?" Linny took a deep breath. He couldn't refuse Yu Xing's request. Although Wang Xinyan was unconscious, she wouldn't be in danger for a while. Who knew what would happen to Yuning? Yes, besides Xiaoning there is another person who is related to you. She is Yushu. Yu Xing paused. "I believe you probably know something about the relationship between House Yu and her." "Okay, I'll go immediately after I get home." Lin Yi's heart was faintly aware of something. But what did this have to do with Yuning? He felt that Yushu should be going to Fiery Mountain soon. House Yu's call should be about this matter. But Yuning, did she have anything to do with this matter? At this thought, Lin Yi told Yu Dake to drive faster because the car had entered the Earth-level East Ocean City, and they would arrive at the mansion in half an hour. Lin Yi's car stopped in front of the villa, and Yushu and Han Jingjing walked out together. "Jingjing? You're here too?" Lin Yi was a little surprised. He didn't expect Han Jingjing to be in the villa. "And there's something I want to tell Big Brother Lin Yi. There's nothing going on in the company recently, so I'll wait for Big Brother Lin Yi here." Han Jingjing said. "Oh? What's the matter?" Lin Yi asked. On Kong Ming Ming's side, they've already released a second-level automatic cauldron imitation into the market. Because our product has been discontinued, Kong Ming Ming's side still has good sales. Han Jingjing said, "Of course this is only the beginning. There won't be continuous sales in the future because the number of second-level alchemists is limited. According to the statistics of the Cultivator Trade Association, there are only about 40 to 50 of them. We've already sold 30, which means that Kong Ming Ming can sell at most another 30 before the market is saturated, and this is under the situation where some sects buy 2 to stock up. And let's ignore him for now." Lin Yi knew that it would be impossible for Kong Xiaoming and Elder Xianxian not to come up with some countermeasure after dealing with them so ruthlessly. "What are we going to do next?" Han Jingjing asked. "I've already got the energy stones and we can launch a new first and second level automatic cauldron." Lin Yi said. However, the energy of the cauldron will be replaced by network replacement. Customers are not allowed to open the cauldron and take out the energy stones without permission. This requires an encryption measure. If customers open the cauldron and take out the energy stones without permission, they will lose all the subsequent warranty and maintenance rights of the cauldron. The purpose of Lin Yi doing this was actually to prevent the energy stones from being removed and used for other purposes such as cultivation. In this way, as long as the energy stones were forcibly taken out, the warranty and maintenance rights of the cauldron would be lost. This could only be done once. It was impossible to charge the cauldron. If he wanted more energy stones, he could only continue to spend a high price to buy a new cauldron. Otherwise, it would be impossible to use energy stones without energy to maintain the cauldron. Of course, the official price of replacing the energy stones wouldn't be cheap. Although Lin Yi's jade space could be charged, Lin Yi wasn't doing charity. Using this method to earn money was also a kind of development of the jade space. "I understand Lin Yi bro's meaning. This energy stone can only be used to provide energy for the cauldron. It can't be used for cultivation. If it's discovered, we'll cancel the subsequent warranty and maintenance rights." Han Jingjing nodded and said, "Actually, this is also very easy to achieve. When the first and second grade automatic medicine cauldrons are refining pills, we can also use the server verification method. Each time, the server will record the remaining energy of the energy stone. If the energy stone doesn't match with the energy recorded previously, the first and second grade automatic medicine cauldrons will be stopped and their maintenance rights will be cancelled." "Okay, you can do as you see fit." Lin Yi nodded and suddenly took out a large amount of energy stones from the jade space in front of Yushu. Yu Dake and Xiaoka had seen his ability, but Yushu and Han Jingjing didn't know. Lin Yi didn't want to hide it from them. Seeing so many energy stones appear out of nowhere on the ground, Han Jingjing and Yushu jumped in shock. "Shil bro, where did these energy stones come from? Holy shit, did you make them?" Yushu's eyes widened as she looked at the energy stones on the ground. Han Jingjing was also very surprised and looked at Lin Yi strangely. "I have a way of storing things. There's nothing special about it," Lin Yi said. "Jing, these energy stones are all charged and the ones in my car aren't. You can take these charged ones and study them first. You can also sell them on the market. I have other things to do here, so I'll be out for a while." I'll be back in a few days. Lin Yi felt a little apologetic. After all, Han Jingjing had waited for him for a few days and he left as soon as he came back. However, this involved Yuning and Yushu. Lin Yi didn't dare to delay. Shield bro, where are you going? Yushu asked. You haven't told Shu what's so fun about the Hakanamata Desert? Chapter 3363. In fact, Lin Yi could guess that it wasn't a good thing to look for him on a rainy day, and it was about Yushu. If that was the case, then Yushu wouldn't be far away. And when he came back, would Yushu be leaving already? Then he would still have time to tell her about his experience in the Hakanamata Desert. It wasn't something that could be explained in a few words. But Lin Yi couldn't tell Yushu about it. She was a girl with a lot on her mind, and Lin Yi wanted her to be happy during her last days at home. He didn't want the stress and worry about the future to affect her life. This might be Shu's last days in the villa. There were some things Lin Yi could stop, but there were some things Lin Yi couldn't stop. Mengyao and the others were already on this path and Yushu was on this path as well. It was the best choice they could make. Xiaoka, Dake, come with me, Lin Yi said to them. Okay, Mr. Lin. Dake didn't mind. Now that he had left the hidden house, he would go wherever Lin Yi wanted him to go. As for Xiaoka, after knowing that Lin Yi was the male thief, she wanted to be with Lin Yi all the time. After getting in the car, Lin Yi sighed helplessly. Dake could tell that Lin Yi wasn't in a good mood. Mr. Lin, is there something bad about this trip to the hidden house you? Maybe. Lin Yi didn't know for sure, but it was a type of intuition. It was very likely. When getting in the car, Lin Yi put all the energy stones in the back of the car into the jade space. The energy stones from before were enough for Han Jingjing to make the first and second level cauldrons and sell them. These energy stones could be used as replacements, and there was no need to give them to Han Jingjing in a hurry. When Lin Yi came back, he would give them to Han Jingjing. Dake had been a disciple of the hidden house Yu for a long time, and he was very familiar with the matters of the hidden plane. He knew the address of the hidden house Yu, so Lin Yi didn't say anything and Dake quickly drove towards the hidden house Yu. When they arrived at the hidden house Yu's mountain gate, there were patrolling disciples who wanted to stop them, but when they saw Lin Yi sitting in the front passenger seat, they backed off immediately. Evidently, the disciples knew Lin Yi, and they had already received a hint from Yu Xing, so only when Lin Yi drove into the hidden house's villa did a disciple walk up to him. But what surprised Lin Yi was that it was Yu Yi, whom he had met once before. Yu Yi stood in front of Lin Yi's car and said respectfully, "Young hero Lin, please get out, the head of the house has been waiting for a long time." Lin Yi gestured for Dake to stop the car and he got out. Towards Yu Yi, Lin Yi didn't know what he felt. Last time, Yu Yi did help him, perhaps because of Yushu, but at least he did help him, so Lin Yi was still very polite to Yu Yi. "Mr. Yu Yi, please arrange for my friend, I will go with you to see Elder Yu." "Don't worry, young hero Lin, I will arrange for your friend, and I will hold a feast for them later." Yu Yi smiled. Lin Yi nodded and said, "Alright, then let's skip the formalities and go straight to Elder Yu." "Alright, young hero Lin, please follow me." Yu Yi nodded. This was the second time Lin Yi came to the hidden house Yu. The first time he was an uninvited guest and the second time he was invited. Both times his attitude was different. The first time he was afraid and the second time he was completely respectful. Yu Xing's residence was at the top of the mountain. Yu Yi walked in front and Lin Yi followed behind. This was the first time Lin Yi came to this mountain. The last time Lin Yi came here, although House Yu was very respectful, they didn't let him come to such a secret place. The qi here is not bad, but it's not very abundant. Lin Yi followed behind Yu Yi effortlessly, making Yu Yi sigh inwardly. Things really weren't the same as before. Yu Yi had seen Lin Yi when he first came to Songshan, but at that time, Lin Yi was only a golden class master. Yu Yi didn't put him in his eyes at all. To him, Lin Yi was just a bodyguard hired by Pengzhan in the common world. He wasn't even at the level of a common noble house. How could the great steward of a hidden house, Yu Yi, care about Lin Yi? But now Lin Yi's achievements had completely surpassed the hidden house Yu. It could be said that there was no one in the hidden house that could challenge Lin Yi. Even the hidden house's backer wouldn't be able to challenge Lin Yi. Hi, young hero Lin is very knowledgeable, but in the hidden world, the hidden house Yu's qi is already the most abundant. Of course, it can't compare to the ancient world, Yu Yi said with a smile as if he had never wanted to kill Lin Yi. At Lin Yi's current level, he couldn't be bothered to lower himself to Yu Yi's level. After all, House Yu was Yu Ning's house, and Lin Yi didn't want to make things too awkward with them. In the beginning he was the one who destroyed the common house Yu. It was hard to say who was right and who was wrong. "I'm just a lone practitioner," Lin Yi smiled faintly. As they spoke, the two arrived at the peak of the back mountain in front of a cave. Yu Yi brought Lin Yi and opened the mechanism in front of the cave. He didn't intend to hide it from Lin Yi. Of course, if Lin Yi wanted to force his way in, the mechanism couldn't stop Lin Yi at all. From Yu Yi's point of view, Lin Yi's strength was already at the pinnacle of the heavenly Tao. Some things were better to be open than defensive. Yu Yi, you're here? Elder Yu's voice came from inside the cave. Is young hero Lin here? Elder Yu, young hero Lin is here as well, Yu Yi said. As soon as Yu Yi's voice faded, footsteps came from the cave. Yu Yi walked out of the cave quickly and smiled at Lin Yi. Young hero Lin, you're here. You're giving me too much face. Elder Yu, you're Yu Ning's grandpa. It's hypocritical of you to say something like this. If you have something to say, just say it. There's no need to pretend. You know my personality. Lin Yi shook his head and said directly. Alright, young hero Lin, please come in. Yu Yi made a welcoming gesture and let Lin Yi into the cave. Chapter 3364. But this was Elder Yu's place, not a cave to hide things, so Lin Yi didn't think there was anything wrong with it. He didn't have the mood to care about these things either. He followed Elder Yu to a guest room, and Lin Yi sat on the sofa naturally. Yu Yi, go pour some tea. Yu Yuxing said to Yu Yi and sat opposite Lin Yi. Master Lin, this time I asked you to come, I actually wanted to get your support. My support? What do you mean? Lin Yi paused, not understanding what Yu Yuxing meant. Before, I didn't agree to the relationship between you and Yu Ning. In fact, it wasn't because I hated you and Yu Ning, that's why I did it, I had my own difficulties. Yu Yuxing sighed. I won't hide it from you, Yu Ning is a water inheritor. What? Lin Yi's eyes widened and he stood up from the sofa. Although he knew that Yu Yuxing was looking for him because of the inheritor, it was about Yushu, not Yu Ning. Yu Ning was an inheritor too? And a water inheritor at that? Master Lin, I didn't mean to hide it, it's just that the people behind the hidden house you won't let me say it. Yu Yuxing had no choice, he couldn't offend the Five Elements sect, but he couldn't offend Lin Yi. Before, Yu Yuxing was counting on the Five Elements sect to help him deal with Lin Yi, but now that the Five Elements sect was keeping quiet, no one dared to touch Lin Yi. What could he do? Surviving in the cracks was the hardest, and he could only choose to compromise, not offend either side, and hope that Lin Yi would forgive him. It's the Five Elements sect, Elder Xianxin. Yu Yuxing said straightforwardly, the hidden house, you, the leader of the hidden house, the leader of the hidden house, suppressing the alchemy house, the hidden house of the hidden house, you, it's because of the Five Elements sect behind us. Without the support of the Five Elements sect, the hidden house, you wouldn't have the strength we have today. Five Elements sect? Lin Yi was surprised. No wonder the hidden house, you couldn't suppress the hidden house, you. With the support of the Sky Elixir School, they still weren't a match for the hidden house, you. It seemed like the hidden house you's background was even more powerful. But I heard that it's because of the hidden house you, which is Elder Yu and your father, that they found an ancient ruin back then and obtained some kind of legacy. That's how the hidden house you came to be today? That was all made up by me. What ancient ruins? How can ancient ruins be so easy to find? Yu Yuxing smiled bitterly after hearing this and said, there are so many ancient families that haven't found an ancient relic. Can we find one? This is just a cover-up. So, because Five Elements sect and Yu Ning is the inheritor, you refuse to let me have a relationship with her? Lin Yi quickly thought of this, he was already the enemy of Five Elements sect. That's right, young hero Lin is wise. Yu Tianxing nodded and said, you should know that the inheritor must be a virgin. I'm afraid that something might happen, so I can't allow you to be with Yu Ning. However, Five Elements sect doesn't allow me to disclose the news that Yu Ning is the inheritor. Last time I could only reject young hero Lin. I hope young hero Lin doesn't mind. I know about this. I also understand your difficulties. Lin Yi nodded slightly and forgave Yu Yuxing for hiding the truth from him last time. After all, this kind of thing was very important to Rock Candy. Then why are you telling me the truth now? Cough. Yu Yuxing coughed and blushed. Young hero Lin, I'm being bullied now. Although Five Elements sect has a lot of restrictions on me, I can't afford to offend young hero Lin. Now, Ancestor Xianxin doesn't dare to deal with you. If I hide anything from you, then when the time comes, our hidden house, you will be in trouble. Without anyone to support us, won't we be finished? Ancestor Xianxin is dealing with me. It's just that you don't know about it. A few days ago he just sent Little Yi to kill me. Lin Yi smiled and said. Then what? Yu Yuxing was stunned. He didn't know about this. It turned out that it wasn't that Ancestor Xianxin didn't care about him, but he secretly made a move. Little Yi is dead. Lin Yi said. Yu Yuxing was stunned. Little Yi is dead? He subconsciously thought that Little Yi was killed by Lin Yi. Because other than Lin Yi, who would do it? Thinking of this, he was even more excited about the wise decision he made. If he didn't please Lin Yi today and sent Yu Ning and Yu Shu away, then Lin Yi would definitely explode, right? At that time, even the hidden house you wouldn't be enough for him to destroy. Let's get down to business. Lin Yi waved his hand and didn't want to dwell on this matter. Okay. Yu Yuxing nodded. As the inheritor, Xiao Ning must go to the Endless West Sea to receive the water inheritance. It's already arranged. There will be a foreign tantric master who will give up all his strength to help Xiao Ning, forcefully increasing her strength to the peak of the late stage of heaven class. Tantric master? Is there any danger? Lin Yi was slightly stunned. He didn't expect there to be such a secret technique that could help people level up. But thinking about it carefully, how different was this from the art of dragon mastery in the Jade Pendant space? It was just that after that person's strength was transferred, his strength would be gone, but he still had it. So thinking about it, it shouldn't be too dangerous. That's why Lin Yi wasn't too excited. There's no danger. If there is, it's the other party. Xiao Ning won't cause any problems. The 5-element sect values Xiao Ning very much. They won't let anything happen to her. Yu Yuxing said. However, there's also a flaw. Because Xiao Ning received the purest energy to level up, the final result is the same as using the Qi-gathering pill. She can no longer adapt to the outside world's spiritual energy to level up. If that's the case. Lin Yi thought about it and asked, will it affect her ascension to the heavenly Tao? Maybe because it's unknown. No one knows the conditions to ascend to the heavenly Tao, but no one is willing to take this risk. Yu Yuxing said. If it's possible to cultivate on her own, she won't use the Qi-gathering pill. Then why can't Xiao Ning cultivate on her own? Lin Yi thought about it and asked. Chapter 3365. What does that have to do with the blessing? Lin Yi didn't expect Yu Ning to be a prophet. Was she talented in this area? Lin Yi would believe it if Yushu was a prophet. After all, many of her prophecies had come true. Yes, prophet masters have their own innate talent. However, it's just a feeling. They can't specifically predict something. However, that tantric sect expert could activate the innate talent in Xiao Ning's body through enlightenment. This is something that can't be achieved through cultivation. Therefore, he could only choose enlightenment to increase his strength. Yu Yuxing said, of course, it doesn't mean that the strength from the blessing can't reach heavenly Tao. This is all unknown, so I hope that young hero Lin can agree to this request. Haha, this request isn't too much. I have no reason to reject it. Lin Yi shook his head. Yu Ning's situation was similar to the women and followers around Lin Yi. Lin Yi would eventually find a way to solve this problem. Yu Ning alone was not enough. These were the side effects of Lin Yi's leveling up, so it had to be solved. I didn't expect young hero Lin to be so open-minded. I'm relieved. You agree to let Ning go to Endless West Sea? Yu Yuxing quickly asked. Yes, I agree. Lin Yi nodded and his face turned serious. Next, are we going to talk about Shu? I heard that her parents were imprisoned by you guys? And you forced her to do something she didn't want to do? Like assassinating me? I can let bygones be bygones, but can you let her parents go? Shu. Yu Yuxing sighed as he said this. His face looked lonely and guilty. Oh? Lin Yi frowned when he heard Yu Yuxing say, Shu. Yu Yuxing, you don't want to let them go? Lin Yi called Elder Yu by his name. This showed how angry he was. Ever since he found out about Shu's tragic life, he sympathized with her. Lin Yi kept it in mind, waiting for the right opportunity to make things clear to House Yu. This invitation from House Yu was undoubtedly a good opportunity. From Lin Yi's perspective, Yu Yuxing wouldn't reject it with his current strength. He didn't expect Yu Yuxing to be so hesitant. This made Lin Yi furious. Before we talk about that, there's something I don't want to hide anymore. I've been hiding it for too long and I've been under a lot of pressure. All these years, other than Yu Yi and Qin, no one else from House Yu knows about this, including Xiao Ning herself. Yu Yuxing's tone was heavy, but today I'll tell you everything. I hope that you'll understand my difficulties after you hear it. What do you mean? Release them or not, it's just a matter of a word. Lin Yi's face was cold. His sky-class mid-phase peak strength was suddenly revealed, and this was giving Yu Yuxing a lot of pressure. Although Lin Yi wouldn't make a move directly, he still needed to let Yu Yuxing know that Lin Yi wouldn't be angry just because Yu Ning was here. Young hero Lin, please listen to me first. Yu Yuxing sighed helplessly. Actually, I didn't even imprison Shu's parents. What? What about her parents? Could it be that you've already killed him? Lin Yi's killing intent flared up. Her parents are alive and well. Yu Yuxing smiled bitterly. Not only are her parents fine, but her grandpa is also alive and well. Huh? Lin Yi paused. Because her grandpa is me. Yu Yuxing let out a long breath, as if he was releasing all the depression he had been suppressing for years. What? Lin Yi's eyes widened as he looked at Yu Yuxing. You're saying that Shu is your granddaughter? That's right, her father is my son Yu Shaoqun and Yu Ning is her twin sister. Yu Yuxing nodded and said solemnly. Yu Ning is Shu's sister? Lin Yi froze at this moment as he looked at Yu Yuxing, speechless. Fraternal twins, no wonder they didn't look that similar. Lin Yi had neglected this fact, but now that he thought about it, Ning and Shu did look similar in some ways. Yushu? Her real name is actually Yushu, the Chen surname is just a cover. Yu Yuxing continued slowly. House Chen knows about this as well, but I warned Elder Chen of House Chen to keep it a secret. Yushu? Lin Yi understood. No wonder the Yu in Yushu's name was different from the Yu in Yu Tian's name. Lin Yi thought that it was because they were male and female, but now it seemed like that wasn't the case. As for the pronunciations, it was just a coincidence. Then Shu's engagement, what's going on? Lin Yi continued to ask. It's a fabrication. The person she's engaged to is the young master of Sky Elixir, Sky Silkworm Transformation, but it's arranged by 5-element school, and only Elder Chen knows about it. Yu Yuxing said, the reason for this is probably because the inheritor can't lose her virginity. I don't want Yushu to fall in love too early. But what I don't understand is, since Shu is from House Yu, why did you put her in the common world? Why did you force her? Lin Yi asked, puzzled. Yu Yuxing's words made sense, but Lin Yi still felt that there was something wrong with it. Yu Ning's attribute is water, while Yu Shu's attribute is fire. The two inheritors of water and fire cannot be together before they receive the inheritance. If they meet frequently, the result will be that the water and fire cancel each other out, and the physique of the two will change. Yu Yuxing said, you should know that water and fire are incompatible. We didn't tell Yushu the truth because we were afraid that she would meet with Yu Ning secretly. If they met each other, then all the arrangements would be for nothing. Water and fire are incompatible? The 5 elements are mutually restraining each other? Lin Yi frowned. If that's the case, then the inheritors of ice and fire will be together, right? Chapter 3366. Oh. Lin Yi was stunned. He didn't expect this. This is also the tragedy of 2 inheritors appearing at the same time. When she was young, Xiao Ning's body wasn't very good, and Xiao Shu's body was very strong. We could only choose to send her away. Speaking of which, she was also a child with a hard life. We didn't dare to tell her the truth. If it wasn't for the fact that we have no other choice, I'm afraid I will continue to hide this secret. I don't know how much Xiao Shu will hate us after she knows the truth. So that's how it is. Lin Yi nodded. Xiao Shu is a sensible child. Don't be fooled by her crazy appearance. In fact, if she knew that the sacrifice she made was for her sister, she would definitely understand. I hope so. I hope that young hero Lin can help explain. Yu Yuxing nodded happily after listening. Another thing is that Yu Shu is also going to receive the inheritance. The place she is going to is the Fiery Mountain. I believe she should have told you about it. However, what she will face is the same as Xiao Ning. There will also be a tantric master who will help her. What? Asked Lin Yi. Because Xiao Shu and Xiao Ning are both prophets. After they receive the inheritance, their minds will be connected. To put it bluntly, they can share each other's thoughts to achieve the purpose of accurate calculation. Yu Yuxing said. What the fuck? Lin Yi jumped in shock. Sharing thoughts like this was possible? What will the personalities of Yu Ning and Yu Shu become? Will they affect each other? Moreover, these two people have the same thoughts. What is the relationship between Lin Yi and them? Could it be that when he and one of them have sex, the other person can also sense each other's thoughts? Isn't this too much? Lin Yi was suddenly shocked, speechless. This is actually something that can't be helped. Yu Yuxing coughed twice and said, but fortunately they both like you. There won't be any major conflicts of opinion in the future. It shouldn't be a big problem. Lin Yi was speechless at Yu Yuxing's words. He didn't know how to answer, so he had to change the topic. You called me, just for these 2 things? Not bad, young hero Lin, since you've agreed, you'll be the most honored guest of our hidden house Yu. As for Shu, I hope you can help persuade her to come to Fiery Mountain with sincerity. Yu Yuxing said. Let's not talk about guests anymore. Since I'm here, I'll meet Xiao Ning. Perhaps this will be the last time I see her before she leaves. Lin Yi sighed. Alright, I'll make the arrangements. No one will disturb you tonight. However, you should know the importance of a successor, so I won't interfere with your hugging and kissing. But remember, there must be a limit. Yu Yuxing said. Sweat. You're thinking too much. Our relationship is very pure. Lin Yi didn't know whether to laugh or cry. That night, Yu Yuxing held a banquet in the biggest living room of the hidden house Yu to welcome Lin Yi's arrival. However, in the entire hidden house Yu, only Yu Yi and Yu Xiaoqian knew what Yu Yuxing meant. Everyone else was confused. Weren't Yu Yuxing and Lin Yi not on good terms before? Why were they eating together all of a sudden? Yu Ning didn't know that Lin Yi would come today. As usual, she was studying the rules of the endless West Sea. Now she knew what her mission was and what she was shouldering. She didn't know what the future held, but she had no other choice. She knew why House Yu had been glorious for the past few decades. She knew what it would mean if she refused. Of course she couldn't refuse. She carried the hopes of everyone in House Yu. She finally knew why her grandfather was guarding against her and Lin Yi. She also knew what her grandfather was worried about. These days Yu Ning was depressed. She didn't know if she could see Lin Yi again before she left. She didn't know if she could survive and come back to see Lin Yi. Today Yu Ning was informed that there was an important banquet in the house. The whole family had to attend. Of course, the so-called whole family was Yu Yuxing, Yu Yi, Yu Xiaoqian, and Yu Ning. As for Yu Xiaozhong and Yu Shan, they'd been blacklisted by Yu Hang, never to be mentioned again. Yu Ning left her residence and came to the living room. However, when Yu Ning stepped into the living room, she took a glance and saw Lin Yi's figure. She suddenly opened her mouth slightly and looked at the person sitting in the guest seat in disbelief. Yu Ning looked at her grandfather in shock. She didn't understand. Of course, in the past, every time Yu Xing attended a banquet, he would always be the last to arrive, because his identity and strength were the strongest. But today was different. Lin Yi was already seated, and he couldn't show any sense of superiority in front of Lin Yi, so he accompanied Lin Yi to the banquet. As for Yu Ning, she was further away, so she was the last to arrive. However, no one dared to reprimand her. The reason was that Lin Yi was sitting here. If Lin Yi didn't speak, who dared to speak? Xiaoning, you're here. Sit next to me. Lin Yi smiled and waved at Yu Ning. There wasn't anyone sitting next to Lin Yi, but he made an exception and added a chair for Yu Ning. Of course, Lin Yi was the eldest here. Whatever he said was the law. And? Yu Ning responded shyly. Seeing that her grandfather and father didn't object, Yu Yi also added a chair for himself. Yu Ning quickly sat next to Lin Yi, but her face was a bit strange. She didn't know why House Yu was doing this today. Young hero Lin, can you say a few words? Seeing that everyone was seated, Yu Yuxing said to Lin Yi. It was also a sign of respect to Lin Yi. I won't say anything. Elder Yu, you are the host. You can say it. Lin Yi waved his hand and refused. Okay then. Yu Yuxing nodded. Hero Lin, I'm sure you're all familiar with him, right? He's one of the strongest practitioners in the world of practitioners, the savior of our hidden house Yu. He was the one who saved Ning when she was kidnapped, and when she went overseas to train he was the one who protected her as well. The two of them were fated to be together from a long time ago. Chapter 3367. Yu Ning's mother was a beautiful woman. What surprised Lin Yi was that Yu Ning looked very similar to Yu Shu. It seemed like Yu Xing wasn't lying to him. Yu Ning, on the other hand, didn't look like her mother at all. If he looked closely he could see the shadow of Yu Xiaoqian and Yu Xiaojin. Of course, Yu Xiaoqian was handsome when he was young. If Yu Xiaojin didn't marry the wrong person she would be here now. Grandpa. Yu Ning was a little embarrassed. Lin Yi didn't hide anything. Since Yu Xing had invited him here, it meant that he was officially accepted. So Lin Yi held Yu Ning's hand. This feeling made Lin Yi's heart beat faster. It was as if he had returned to that year, that Valentine's Day night. The bonfire, the cave, the beasts outside, a beautiful girl sitting next to the bonfire, telling her heart to him. Everything came to Lin Yi's mind as if it was a lifetime ago. This time, holding hands, he would never let go again. He would never let go of what he had missed before. Ning, accept the inheritance with peace of mind. For you, for Shu, Yao Yao and Xiao Xiao, I will participate in that plan. No one can stop me, Lin Yi said solemnly. Yu Shu, Meng Yao and Xiao Xiao's names, Yu Ning had heard Yu Bing mention them before. She knew that they were Lin Yi's confidants, so she wasn't jealous. She was just touched by Lin Yi's responsibility. Of course, the reason why Yu Ning didn't reject her becoming an inheritor was because of these people. Lin Yi couldn't give up on them. At the same time, Lin Yi wouldn't give up on her. But because of House Yu he had never made a solemn promise. Today Lin Yi made a promise and Yu Ning was relieved. This time, no matter how many obstacles and thorns there were, she would face them with a smile. Night. In a cave in the mountain behind House Yu, Lin Yi brought Yu Ning and lit a bonfire here. The back mountain was the hidden House Yu's forbidden grounds. Everyone from House Yu, including Yu Yi and Yu Xiaoqian, didn't dare stay there for no reason. Yu Xing, however, ignored Lin Yi and Yu Ning's actions. This night, Yuning and Lin Yi quietly sat side by side at the entrance of the cave, looking at the burning bonfire in front of them. Although there were no beasts here, there was no worry of war, but the memories of the two people seemed to have returned to the past. Yuning leaned her head on Lin Yi's shoulder. The two of them snuggled together, and the thousands of words in their hearts were hidden in this long night. Lin Yi and Yuning were communicating with each other. It seemed that they both knew what to say. Without saying anything, they could feel each other's deep concern. The next morning, Lin Yi said goodbye to Yuning and Yu Yuxing. He brought Xiaoke and Yu Dake out of the hidden house. Yuning, it was time to go. Lin Yi had to return home as soon as possible and talk to Shu, because after Yuning, it would be her. Kong Ming in the end didn't find little Yi's body. He drove back to Five Element Sect alone, and the first thing he did was to meet the Xianqian ancestor. Xiaoming, you are back? Did you find little Yi's body? The Xianqian ancestor looked at Kong Ming and asked. No. Kong Ming shook his head. He also felt that this matter was quite scary. Such a big living body, it just disappeared like that? Wasn't it a bit unrealistic? But so what if it wasn't realistic? Then what happened? The Xianqian ancestor frowned. Little Yi's soul jade tablet was cracked, but it didn't break. What did this mean? Could it be that there were some uncertain factors in this? Father-in-law, I don't know either. Kong Ming smiled bitterly. In short, things are too strange. If you didn't call me, I wouldn't have known that senior brother's body had been lost. Forget it, let's not talk about this matter for now. Maybe something unexpected happened. Although the Xianqian ancestor's scalp was a little numb, he was a top cultivator after all, so he could control his emotions very well. He looked at Kong Ming and said, previously, you told me that Lin Yi didn't have the strength to kill a peak late-stage heaven-stage great perfection master? It should be like this. Otherwise, he wouldn't have asked the Bubbly clan to take action and owe such a big favor. Kong Ming nodded. In that case, this is a chance to kill Lin Yi. The Xianqian ancestor clicked his tongue, pondered for a moment and said, now we can't do anything to Lin Yi. Boss Bai is watching over there and we're about to reach the critical moment of the Heavenly Island plan. I don't want to cause unnecessary trouble. This time we're relying on the Bubbly clan and we've also suffered a loss. Boss Bai might not blame us, but if we directly make a move, I can't guarantee that he won't do something desperate. But if we let Lin Yi develop like this, then whether our Heavenly Island plan can be carried out is another matter. Kong Ming followed the Xianqian ancestor and more or less understood some things about the Heavenly Island plan. Most of those inheritors are Lin Yi's women. When the time comes, if he objects, our efforts will be in vain. That's true. The Xianqian ancestor closed his eyes. After a moment he opened them again and a bright light shot out. He said, it seems that the heavenly trial is the only chance to kill Lin Yi. Father-in-law, our Five Element Sect is going to hold a trial? After hearing this, Kong Ming was slightly surprised and quickly asked. That's right, our Five Element Sect hasn't held a trial for a long time. Taking advantage of the Heavenly Island plan, we'll hold a trial and kill Lin Yi here. The Xianqian ancestor nodded and said, the deaths and injuries in the trial can't be investigated. Even if Boss Bai is unwilling, there's nothing we can do. But this time, who are we going to send to kill Lin Yi? Kong Ming asked. I'm going to let Little Fool and the Heavenly Silkworm Transformation team up to kill Lin Yi. I don't believe that two experts at the peak of the late stage of Heaven stage can't beat Lin Yi. The Xianqian ancestor sneered and said, Xiaoming, go and cultivate. You'll also participate in the heavenly trial this time. Go and experience it, but you must be careful. Chapter 3368. Don't worry. I have already talked to Dr. Benjamin too. His and Miss Land's experiment is over. This time he will send the Zhao family's experts to be your bodyguards. Each of these Zhao family's experts has the strength of peak late-stage great perfection. You don't have to worry about your safety, said Ancestor Xianqian. No way? So powerful? Kong Ming was overjoyed after hearing it. 3 top experts. However, he was a little confused. Since these people are so powerful, why don't you let them kill Lin Yi? Isn't that easier? The 3 of them have just achieved divine power, and they don't have much experience. They haven't adapted to the identity of peak late-stage great perfection. I'm afraid they will suffer a loss if we let them kill Lin Yi. After all, Lin Yi is more cunning and has some trump cards, so it's better to let Little Fool and Heavenly Silkworm Transformation, who have more combat experience, take action. Ancestor Xianqian said, in addition, these people from the Zhao family, although they have hatred for Lin Yi, in the end they are on Miss Lan's side. Miss Lan didn't mention this matter, so we can't make a decision on our own. If that's the case, then I can have a good time. Kong Ming Ming nodded happily after listening. Little E, let's investigate this matter a little more. A living person like that is gone just like that? Are you sure it's not Lin Yi's doing? Ancestor Xianxin was still worried about little E. It shouldn't be. I left first and Lin Yi left later. When I left there was a corpse in the car. Besides, what's the use of a dead person for Lin Yi? Kong Ming Ming shook his head. That's true, but if I don't find little Yi's body I won't feel at ease. Is there someone else standing in the dark? I don't believe in the existence of any supernatural things, said Ancestor Xianxin. Then I'll investigate again. Although Kong Ming Ming said so, he didn't take it to heart. In his opinion, people were dead, so who cared where their bodies went? Okay, but be careful. Patriarch Xuanxin's words warmed Kong Ming Ming's heart. It seemed like Patriarch Xianxin still cared about him. Lin Yi left the hidden house with Yu Dake and Yu Xiaoke, returning to Donghai City. On the way, Lin Yi didn't seem to be in a good mood. He kept his eyes closed, deep in thought. Yu Dake could tell that Lin Yi wasn't in a good mood, so he didn't dare to say anything. Xiaoke, on the other hand, was a little depressed. Obviously, Lin Yi and Yu Ning from the hidden house had something going on. She could tell from the look in her eyes when she sent him off. Although Xiaoke didn't say it, she wasn't too happy that another girl popped out. But it was only for a while. Xiaoke knew where she stood, and she was glad that the male thief only liked her. That was enough. As for Lin Yi, Xiaoke's love was for the gentle male thief in the tomb. I'm going to train for a bit. Call me if you need anything, Lin Yi finally said. There were too many things going on recently, and Lin Yi didn't have the time to train. He wasted a lot of time, and now the inheritor's plan wasn't far away. Lin Yi had to raise his strength to the next level as soon as possible. Otherwise, Lin Yi wouldn't be able to handle the unknown dangers in the future. Yu Ning, Yu Shu, Mingyao, Xiao, Little Nine, these people all needed Lin Yi's protection. Lin Yi had to have the strength to look down on everyone else. Only then would he have the absolute right to speak in the plan. After entering the Jade Space, Lin Yi was about to sit down and train, but suddenly Lin Yi saw a corner of the Jade Space. He was shocked and almost screamed. Luckily it was in the Jade Space. Otherwise, wouldn't Xiaoke and Yu Dake be shocked? Fuck, Jiao Lao, what are you doing? What is this? Lin Yi pointed at the corner of the Jade Space. Isn't that little Yi's body? How did you get into my space? Lin Yi wasn't afraid of dead people, but an enemy's body appearing in the Jade Space out of nowhere made Lin Yi a little uneasy. It's not me. It's that guy, Jiao Yazi said as he pointed at the ghost in the corner. Ghost Senior, you're awake? Lin Yi paused and asked. Yes, he's awake. This corpse is pretty good. It's a peak late heaven rank expert at the Great Perfection realm, a bit stronger than an ordinary Great Perfection expert. I'll temporarily refine him into my puppet avatar to play with. I've recently recovered a lot of my spirit power here. The spiritual energy here is really abundant, haha. The ghost suddenly laughed. Speaking of which, I have to thank you for giving me such a good toy. Puppet doppelganger? Lin Yi paused. He didn't understand what the ghost meant. You brought this body in? How can you control the Jade Space? Haha, in the space of the Jade Pendant, I'm actually half the owner of the space. If you can bring things in, then I can too. You can ask Elder Jiao, he can do it too. The ghost laughed. Of course, this is all thanks to the Jade Space you made. If you didn't make it, I wouldn't be able to bring the body in. I see. Lin Yi shuddered. Luckily, he wasn't afraid of these things. Otherwise, he'd be scared to death. Then did you make it? What's the purpose of refining this so-called puppet clone? Actually, it's not that useful. I just want to send a strand of my primordial spirit into this corpse and turn it into my puppet doppelganger. It can move freely in the outside world. Of course, it's still a little weak for me. I'll just take it as I'm bored and go out to play. The ghost said. It's equivalent to another me. It can be controlled by the me in the Jade Space. Oh? In other words, it's equivalent to a Sky-class late-phase master outside the Jade Space. Moreover, it's controlled by you? Lin Yi was pleasantly surprised. Isn't this equivalent to having an extra fighter? However, after the excitement, Lin Yi calmed down. Although this was a powerful fighter, would this ghost be willing to work for him? He'd asked it for help several times before, but it was cold and indifferent. This time, it should be even more unwilling to let its clone be a fighter. Chapter 3369. Then, Senior, can you send this puppet avatar to help me? Lin Yi pondered for a moment and asked, for example, when I'm in danger? Well, yes. The ghost didn't hesitate this time. It directly agreed without much thought, which made Lin Yi very surprised. He thought that he had heard it wrong. Senior Ghost, did you just say yes? Lin Yi asked with a little bit of disbelief. Yes. The ghost laughed and said, don't be surprised. In fact, my puppet avatar still needs your help to enter and exit the space of the jade pendant. Although I can also control it, it will consume a lot of my spirit power. I don't want to use my spirit power in this place. When the time comes, I will need your help. However, if I were to help, wouldn't that mean that this puppet clone would enter another space? The one that I refined? Lin Yi pointed to the space where he stored things. That won't happen. This puppet avatar has a mind and retains my thoughts. It will automatically choose the space that it needs, and it won't enter the space next to it. The ghost explained. I see. Lin Yi suddenly understood. Then is this thing alive or dead? How can it enter the space but other living things can't? Other things can, but there's no air inside, so it can't be breathed. The ghost said until here, but was suddenly interrupted by Jiao Yazi. Ahem. Jiao Yazi coughed twice. Haha, I won't say it. Jiao Yazi won't let me say it. The ghost quickly stopped talking. Obviously, when Lin Yi wasn't in the space, the two of them had communicated, which made Lin Yi very unhappy. Obviously, it was hidden from him. This puppet avatar isn't a living person. Of course, it can't be said to be a dead person. It can only be called a living dead. It doesn't need to breathe. It only needs to absorb the aura of heaven and earth to replenish its physical strength, and its thoughts are controlled by the old ghost. Jiao Yazi explained. As for other living people, they can't come in for the time being. Okay. Lin Yi heard Jiao Yazi's words. So, could he come in the future? However, Lin Yi didn't want to ask any more. If he asked, it would be useless because his memory hadn't recovered. Moreover, Lin Yi had a puppet avatar with the strength of the late peak of heaven stage to help him. It was already a very good thing. It seemed that this trip was very rewarding. If there are more corpses of masters with the strength of the late peak of heaven stage, can you continue to refine the puppet avatar? Lin Yi asked. I can, but it consumes a lot of my spirit power. It's not interesting. Moreover, I see that this master with the strength of the late peak of heaven stage is stronger than the others, so I got it for fun. The others are too weak. I'm not interested. The ghost said, you are quite suitable. Why don't I refine you? Then forget it. Although Lin Yi knew that the ghost was joking, he still shuddered. If it wanted to make a move on him, it would have done it a long time ago. It was obviously to scare him. Hee, I will continue to sleep. My puppet avatar is always awake. If there's anything, you can find him. After the ghost finished speaking, it didn't move at all. Senior Ghost, are you dormant? Lin Yi tried to ask. Yes. The puppet avatar suddenly spoke, and it gave Lin Yi a fright. The voice was exactly the same as Little E. Ugh, okay, you go on with your work. Lin Yi felt weird. The addition of Little E in the jade space really made him feel uncomfortable. No wonder Kong Ming Ming was looking for corpses everywhere. It turned out that the corpse was brought by the ghost. Lin Yi sat cross-legged and began to practice. The car sped on the road. When they reached Donghai City, it was already midnight. However, the sound of the car still woke Yushu up. Han Jingjing had already returned to her villa to do experiments. This girl was so busy that she couldn't hear the outside world at all. Shil bro, you are back? Yushu looked a little haggard. Lin Yi felt a slight pain in his heart. Perhaps she already knew from Yui that she was going to Fiery Mountain. Shu, let's go in and talk. Lin Yi reached out and rubbed her forehead. You didn't rest before? Yeah, I have something to tell you. Yui called me before. Shu was a little down. I know, I went to the hidden house you. Yu Xing and Elder, you already told me everything. Lin Yi said, it's about going to Fiery Mountain, right? Yeah. I'm leaving in a few days, Yushu sighed. Yushu sighed softly. I knew this day would come, but I didn't think it'd come so soon. Yao Yao's gone, I'm gone, and Xan Yan's fainted. I'm really worried about the family. Lin Yi bro, don't look at me like I'm an idiot. Yeah, I know, but don't worry, after you go, I'll go find you guys in no time. I'll be a part of that plan and I won't let anyone hurt you guys. Absolutely not, Lin Yi nodded solemnly. Yeah, Shu believes that Shield Bro will be very powerful. Don't forget that I'm Prophet Shu. Yushu smiled and clenched her fist. Prophet Shu. Lin Yi suddenly remembered Yu Xing's words. No wonder Shu's words had come true so many times. Before, Lin Yi thought that it was a coincidence, but now that he thought about it, it wasn't. This was Shu's innate talent. But now that she said it, it made Lin Yi more confident in facing the future plan. If Shu really predicted that the future wouldn't be smooth, she would probably stop it at all costs, right? Or maybe she didn't predict anything, and her words were just to comfort Lin Yi. But no matter what, Lin Yi was full of courage and confidence now. In the living room of the villa, Yu Dake and Yu Xiaoka sat on the sofa. Linny didn't want to hide anything from them. Ever since Linny knew about Yu Xiaoka's ability, he planned to train her to be his best assistant in battle. Yu Xiaoka's ability could save lives in critical moments. Especially when Linny used his ultimate skill, he used up all his energy. As long as Yu Xiaoka could hold on for a while, Linny would have the chance to recover. Chapter 3370. It's nothing. Right? Did Yui tell you about your parents? Linny felt that he had to tell Shu about this. With Shu's mature personality, she wouldn't do anything irrational. Oh? No, Shield bro, are you going to the hidden house to help me find my parents? Yushu asked quickly. Part of it. You've heard of Yu Ning, right? Linny nodded. Yeah, isn't she Shield bro's first love? Yushu had heard about Yu Ning before, so she wasn't too surprised. Her other identity is the inheritor of the water element, Linny said. Ah? She's also an inheritor? Holy shit, all the inheritors are Shield bro's wives? Yushu's eyes widened in shock. Isn't there a mist and wood element too? Linny felt that this was quite a coincidence. All the inheritors were related to him in some way, but was it really a coincidence? Lin Dongfang and Mo Kongwen might just smile and not say anything. Was it planned? Mist element. Yushu opened her mouth but didn't say anything. I think so too. Ahem. It can't be Yu Xiaoka and Wang Xinyan, right? Linny smiled bitterly. I don't know. Yushu shook her head. So House Yu's miss is also an inheritor. Her most important identity isn't an inheritor, but your sister. Linny suddenly said. Yushu blinked. My sister? What do you mean? She clearly didn't understand what Linny was talking about. It was too sudden and it was hard for her to understand. Yu Ning is your sister, Linny said seriously. Your real name is Yushu and you're from the hidden house Yu. Yu Ning is my sister? Then my parents? At this moment Shu, who was always calm and had a mischievous look on her face, was a little flustered. This news was too shocking. It overturned everything she knew in the past 10 years. Although Shu knew that she wasn't from House Qin, she always thought that House Yu kidnapped her parents and forced her to do something. But now Linny said that she was from House Yu? How was this possible? Your parents are Yu Xiaoqin and his wife. Your grandfather is Yu Xing. You and Yu Ning are twin sisters. She's the older sister and you're the younger sister. It's that simple. Linny said. How is this possible? Then why did Yui treat me like that? Brother Linny, are you lying to Shu? Is it because Shu's parents are dead and you're trying to comfort her? Yushu didn't believe Lin Yi's words. When have I ever lied to you? Linny smiled bitterly. Actually it's like this. With that, Linny told Yushu everything Yu Xing said in detail. Yushu wasn't stupid. In fact, she was very smart. She fell into silence after hearing Lin Yi's words, but it was obvious that she believed the truth. She was indeed from the hidden House Yu, and she was Yu Xing's granddaughter. So, actually House Yu had no choice. They were afraid that I would go home to see my parents and sister, so they lied to me? Yushu sighed softly. Yes, although they lied to you, there's a reason behind it. Of course, I'm not trying to excuse them. I just think that since they are your family and you've been looking forward to it for so long, there's no need to make things unpleasant. Linny explained. No, actually, they think that I'm crazy and would do anything. It's not like that. Shield bro, you know Shu the best, don't you? If I knew the truth, I would never go to my sister. Yushu shook her head and murmured. I know, but your disguise has successfully fooled many people, including Yao Yao. So, there's a reason why House Yu lied to you, Linny said. But you don't hate your sister, do you? If you gave her away, you would be the princess of House Yu. No, I think I'm very lucky. If I stayed in the hidden House Yu, how sad would that be? I wouldn't be able to meet Yao Yao, and I wouldn't be able to meet Shield bro. Yushu said happily and confidently. Linny sighed in relief. Didn't Ning meet me too? Even if she did, it wouldn't be as easy as Shu meeting Shield bro. Her family doesn't even allow her to meet him, but Shu can live with Shield bro. Hee, I'm afraid that my sister would be jealous of me. Yushu smiled. Linny didn't know if Shu was telling the truth or not. She was too good at hiding her true feelings and thoughts. But no matter what, Shu's attitude made Linny sigh in relief. But although she is my sister, I still support Yao Yao sis as the main wife. This won't change. Shu's position is very firm. Yushu said suddenly. Ahem Shu, I'm talking about something serious. Why are you saying this all of a sudden? Linny was a little embarrassed. Shu is talking about something serious. Yushu said matter-of-factly. So, you're saying that you can let go of the knot in your heart and go to Fiery Mountain? Before you leave, I'll go with you to the hidden house you? Linny asked. I'm not going. Actually, my parents are just something I've been looking forward to for a long time. Now that I know about it, I don't really want to see them anymore. Thinking about it, the closest people to me are actually Yao Yao sis and Shield bro, as well as House Chen's parents, grandpa and brother. I don't have any sense of belonging in the hidden house you. My Yuning sis, I can accept her because of Shield bro, but I suddenly don't want to see anyone else. Yushu shook her head lightly. Alright, I'll listen to you. Linny suddenly felt a little sad. Yushu always thought that her parents were forced by House Yu. Now that she knew that wasn't the case, her persistence was shattered. Naturally, she didn't feel much about the hidden house you anymore. She was a little sleepy. I'm going to sleep. Shield bro, see you tomorrow? Yushu stood up slowly. For the first time, she didn't ask Lin Yi about the adventure in Hakanamata Desert. Lin Yi knew that Shu must have suffered quite a big blow today. He didn't say anything else. Yeah, good night. Sweet dreams. Chapter 3371. Xiaoka and Dake actually sympathized with Yushu. She was a pitiful girl, especially since Yushu had helped the orphanage before. Xiaoka didn't hate her at all. Xiaoka had started to accept the people around Lin Yi. She liked the identity of a male thief, but in reality Lin Yi was Lin Yi. Male thief, my brother and I are sleepy. Are there any empty rooms here? Xiaoka didn't want to disturb Lin Yi. She knew that Lin Yi was going to see Xinyan, so she didn't want to disturb him. Okay, I'll find 2 rooms for you. Lin Yi nodded and stood up, arranging rooms for Xiaoka and Dake. After everything was arranged, Lin Yi walked to his room. Xinyan was arranged to stay here, and now that Lin Yi had the energy stones, naturally he had to save Xinyan first. Opening the door, Lin Yi saw Xinyan lying on his bed with a pale face. Compared to when Lin Yi left, she seemed even more haggard. Of course, it could be Lin Yi's imagination. Lin Yi took out 2 energy stones from the jade space. They had been fully charged for the past few days, but Lin Yi wasn't sure if they could wake Xinyan up. Lin Yi didn't know if the unconscious Xinyan could absorb the energy from the stones on her own. No matter what, Lin Yi put the stones next to Xinyan's pillow and observed it silently. He wanted to see if the color of the stones would dim. That would prove that Xinyan had absorbed the energy from the stones. In actuality, Lin Yi was wondering if Xinyan could absorb the energy from his body. But it didn't seem to work. Wang Xinyan didn't have the incantation, and the energy in her body wasn't pure spiritual qi. She couldn't convert it into the energy that Wang Xinyan needed. She was different from spirit beast. However, after observing for a while, Lin Yi did not find any obvious changes in the energy stone, so he took out his phone and prepared to find Auntie Qing to ask. After all, Auntie Qing should know more. Aunt Qing? Lin Yi dialed Aunt Qing's number. Aunt Qing's position in the Ice Palace allowed her to have her own satellite phone. Little Yi, how is it? How's the physical condition of the friend you mentioned? Aunt Qing's caring voice sounded on the other side of the phone, warming Lin Yi's heart. Aunt Qing, I found the energy stone, but when I placed it by her pillow, she still hasn't woken up. Moreover, I don't see much change in the energy stone. She doesn't seem to be absorbing it? Lin Yi asked anxiously. It's impossible that she doesn't absorb it. She's relying on her body to naturally absorb the spiritual qi around her, but the speed and flow are relatively slow. You can't see it with the naked eye. Aunt Qing explained, let alone her, even practitioners who use the energy stone to cultivate won't be able to see any changes in the energy stone within a few days. There's nothing strange about it. So that's how it is. Lin Yi let out a sigh of relief and asked, then, when will she wake up? That's hard to say. It depends on the abundance of the spiritual qi around her, the amount of energy contained in the energy stone, and the surface area of the energy stone, Aunt Qing said. Surface area? Lin Yi paused and said, the size of the energy stone also matters? That's right. The bigger the energy stone, the more energy can be absorbed in the same amount of time. Of course, this is also related to the amount of energy contained in the energy stone itself, Aunt Qing explained. Then what if there are more energy stones? If a lot of energy stones are placed around her, will it help her wake up faster? Lin Yi listened to Aunt Qing's explanation and was immediately delighted. That's natural, but energy stones are relatively rare. Very few people will do this, Aunt Qing said. Right, little Yi, did you get a lot of energy stones? Yes, I brought back a car full of energy stones from the Bubbly clan. The trunk is full. Lin Yi didn't hide it, but he didn't mention the status of the energy stones either. That many? Aunt Qing was a little surprised. If that's the case, if you have spare time, I suggest you give a few to Xiao Xiao. She doesn't have a level barrier. If there are energy stones in hand, It can help her quickly reach the peak of the late stage of heaven stage. That works? Lin Yi didn't expect energy stones to have this kind of use. Yes, it's just that there aren't many energy stones left in the training world. The only ones are concentrated in the 5-element sect, but although the 5-element sect is... At this point Aunt Qing suddenly stopped. She didn't know how much Lin Yi knew, so she didn't want Lin Yi to get involved in order to avoid trouble. What about the 5-element sect? Lin Yi asked. The inheritor plan should be led by the 5-element sect, right? Won't they give the energy stones to the inheritors? If there are leftovers they might, but right now they're focusing on improving the strength of a practitioner called medium, so they'll definitely put him first, Aunt Qing said. As for Xiao Xiao, the relationship between the Ice Palace and the 5-element sect is very subtle. I don't know if we can get it in the end. Of course, if it's a small amount, 1 or 2 won't be very useful. Then how many energy stones does Xiao Xiao need to improve his strength to the peak of the late stage of heaven class? Lin Yi asked. About 20 energy stones the size of a fist, Aunt Qing said. From the yellow class to the earth class, 1 energy stone is enough, but from the earth class to the peak of the late stage of heaven class, it'll need about 20. The higher the level, the more heaven and earth energy is needed. You can understand the reason behind this, right? I know this. 20? Okay, no problem. I'll have someone send you 30. Lin Yi had a lot of energy stones in his hands. 30 really wasn't much. What? 30? You can't use that much. Aunt Qing was shocked. Little E, if you give all of these to me, what about your friends? It's okay, I still have more. Lin Yi said, right, but please don't throw away the energy stones that have been used. I still have use for them. Chapter 3372. That's good, I'll get someone to send it over right away. Lin Yi wasn't expecting such a pleasant surprise. Lin Yi could still go to the Hakanamata Desert and ask for energy stones from the Bubbles clan, but the Bubbles clan was just too far from here. He had the purple lightning beast, but Lin Yi couldn't bring too many back this time. The Ice Palace being able to trade for some made up for the lack of numbers. You can give the rest of the stones to the Ice Palace as a reward. Tell me when you're done with it, don't worry about it, the Ice Palace is Xiao Xiao's home now, and with your relationship with Aunt Qing I'll be fine with it. That's great. Aunt Qing was overjoyed. With the rest of the stones as rewards for the Ice Palace disciples, it would be able to motivate them to train and raise a batch of Sky Class. One had to know that going from Earth late phase peak to Sky Class didn't require that many stones. 1 was enough, and these 10 extra stones could raise 10 Sky Class Masters. The Ice Palace's strength would increase as well. Thank you so much. Aunt Qing said gratefully. It's nothing, I have to thank you, Aunt Qing. Lin Yi shook his head. Aunt Qing, about that practitioner's art, please help me look for it. All right, I understand, Aunt Qing replied. After hanging up, Lin Yi took out all the energy stones from the jade space and placed them around Xinyan. There were over 1,000 of them, and they surrounded Xinyan in an instant. It was as if Xinyan was sleeping in a pit made out of stones. Interesting. After that, Lin Yi called Chikuan. Chikuan, come over for a bit. Lin Yi didn't explain too much, and Chikuan quickly appeared in Lin Yi's villa. Boss, I'm here. You're back? What do you need me to do? Chikuan was the type who was always on standby. Ride the purple thunderbolt beast to the Ice Palace and give Xiao Xiao 30 energy stones. Also, bring back all the energy stones from the Ice Palace. Lin Yi told Chikuan, go next door and ask Han Jingjing for the energy stones, she has a lot. Lin Yi didn't touch Wang Xinyan's. Instead, he asked him to take Han Jingjing so that he could give more to Wang Xinyan. No problem, I'll go now? Chikuan had been to the Ice Palace before and knew Xiao Xiao. Yes, let's go now. Come back quickly, Lin Yi said. All right, I'll go now. Chikuan didn't waste any time and left. Lin Yi, on the other hand, returned to Wang Xinyan's room, only to find that Wang Xinyan's eyes were open. She was looking at the energy stones around her with a confused and curious expression. Where am I? Am I dead? Is this my coffin? Xinyan looked at the energy stones around her, thinking that it was some kind of special coffin. She didn't know where she was. Xinyan, you're awake. Lin Yi was surprised and happy. Lin Yi? At your house? Xinyan remembered abruptly that she seemed to have followed Lin Yi to his villa, and then went to sleep with Yushu at night. She didn't remember anything after that. Could she have been unconscious all this time? It seemed like it, but what were these things around her? Why did Xinyan feel like she was filled with energy all of a sudden? Like she was full of energy? As if she had never been sick before? Yes, you're at home. You fainted earlier, and I heard that your body could absorb energy from the surroundings, so I got some energy stones and it worked. It seems like your body can absorb the energy from these stones. Lin Yi said it very casually as if it was something very normal, but Xinyan knew that it wasn't easy for Lin Yi to do all this. Xinyan didn't know how precious these energy stones were, nor did she know how he got them, but from the looks of it, they weren't ordinary. It wasn't easy for Lin Yi to get so many of them all at once. Xinyan felt a little touched, but she wasn't very good at expressing her gratitude. She was a quiet girl and she wasn't very good at expressing her feelings with words. She only felt that Lin Yi treated her very well, and if Lin Yi asked her to do anything she would do it, including giving up her life. Xinyan seemed to think of something all of a sudden. With these energy stones I won't faint anymore? Lin Yi, I feel like I'm full of energy. It's all because of these energy stones, right? Chem? You feel full of energy? It seems like these energy stones are very effective. That's great. Lin Yi was very happy after hearing Xinyan's words. It seemed like Aunt Qing's method was very effective. Can you hug me and train? You don't have to worry about me fainting. Because of the energy stones, right? Xinyan said, blushing. Train. Xinyan was a fatal temptation to Lin Yi. Not only could he hug her to sleep, but he could also increase his strength. It was a win-win situation like this, and naturally Lin Yi would like it. But right now Lin Yi couldn't be sure if his training speed with Xinyan in his arms would be faster than Xinyan's own absorption speed. It wouldn't be a problem if it was slower than Xinyan's absorption speed, but if it was faster, wouldn't Xinyan faint every day? 1 or 2 days was fine, but if she passed out every day, wouldn't that cause problems for her body? Lin Yi felt that it was better to be cautious. After all, this was related to Xinyan's health. You've just woken up, why don't you pass? I don't want to affect your health. Lin Yi rejected after some hesitation. It's fine, I'll give it a try. Xinyan suddenly felt a little embarrassed. I haven't been hugged in a long time, I kind of miss it. Being hugged by Lin Yi made Xinyan feel very comfortable and at ease. She hadn't felt this way in a long time and it made her miss it a little. Then, all right. Lin Yi didn't want to reject Xinyan's offer. It'd be a little hurtful too. If it didn't work after one night, Lin Yi could stop training. Chapter 3373. But, I'm not sleepy right now, I'm full of energy. Lin Yi, can you tell me where these energy stones came from and what's going on with my body? Xinyan's breathing was a little ragged from Lin Yi's hug, and she wanted to change the topic and talk to Lin Yi. Alright, we'll have to start from the day you fell unconscious. Lin Yi didn't reject the offer. Xinyan had been unconscious for so many days, and it was only natural that he'd just woken up. Xinyan listened to Lin Yi's story, and while Lin Yi was playing it down, it was still a very dangerous thing. Just running into Kong Ming Ming in the Bubbly clan wasn't a good thing. Kong Ming Ming was a narrow-minded man, and he'd always been pissed that she'd been with Lin Yi instead of his brother. There was no way he wouldn't cause trouble for Lin Yi. But now that Lin Yi was talking about it, it made it sound like Lin Yi had run into Kong Ming Ming, and he'd gotten his friends from the Bubbly clan to get rid of Little One, and Kong Ming Ming owed him a chi-gathering pill. No matter how you looked at it, it was Lin Yi bullying Kong Ming Ming. Of course, Xinyan knew that Lin Yi wasn't someone like that, but she didn't question him. She listened quietly, surprised by the number of energy stones around her. You're saying that the jade on your chest can charge energy stones? Xinyan and Lin Yi often slept in each other's arms, and naturally knew that Lin Yi had a jade as well. She didn't ask about it, but now that Lin Yi was talking about it, she realized just how powerful Lin Yi's jade was. Not only did it have a storage space, it could charge energy stones as well. Yeah, it's just that living people can't go in. If it's possible to go in, I'll let you in directly. Then, I won't have to worry about your body's energy loss anymore. Lin Yi said regretfully. Lin Yi had an indescribable trust in Xinyan, so he told her about the jade pendant. Moreover, with Lin Yi's current strength, there was no need to hide these things. Things were different now. The enemies that Lin Yi feared in the past were now afraid of Lin Yi. It doesn't matter. Energy stones are the same. I can still be full of energy after using energy stones to recharge them. Xinyan suddenly realized how blessed she was. Lin Yi was willing to go through all that trouble just to get these energy stones for her. Can you tell me more about what happened? I want to hear. Sure. Lin Yi knew that Xinyan had fainted before, and while she had enough energy stones, she was still worried that she'd faint again. Talking to her now would put her at ease. Gradually, Xinyan grew sleepy as well. She fell asleep in Lin Yi's arms, a satisfied and happy smile still on her face. Lin Yi took a deep breath and entered the jade space, trying to use Xinyan's fragrance to speed up his training once more. Lin Yi's strength had gone through a couple of levels. He was now sky class mid-phase thanks to the chi-gathering pill. It wasn't easy to level up again, but Lin Yi's third stage of the art of dragon mastery was close to perfection. Lin Yi was already looking forward to the benefits of the fourth stage. The next morning Lin Yi drove the jeep to school with Yushu and Xinyan just like before. It had been a while since Lin Yi last came to school, and he couldn't help but feel a little absent-minded. In the blink of an eye, there were two people missing from his side. Han Jingjing and Meng Yao wouldn't be in school anymore. Ever since Han Jingjing's identity was exposed, she hadn't been coming back to school. It seemed that her previous identity was just to hide it from Lin Yi. Meng Yao, on the other hand, hadn't been back since she went to the Dark Palace. After that, it was probably Shu's turn. Shu didn't have much time left in this school, but when they arrived at school, Lin Yi suddenly realized that there was no one there. Right, it's already the holidays. Lin Yi laughed bitterly. Why didn't you guys remind me? Yushu raised her head. Shield bro, where are we going? Lin Yi couldn't help but smile at Yushu's words. It seemed that he wasn't the only one with a heavy heart these past few days. Even Shu was the same. It seemed that Shu didn't even know that he was going to school. She just followed Lin Yi out in a daze. It's fine, we're just going for a ride. Lin Yi shrugged. I lost track of time when I fainted. I thought school started. Xinyan was a little embarrassed. Alright, let's go home. Lin Yi smiled and started the car. Overseas Practitioners Association. This year, He Luodong also received an invitation to the Sky Class Trials. He was the first to receive it. As the younger brother of the acting head of the Five Elements sect, Elder Xianxian only notified him because they were relatives, but in reality, Elder Xianxian didn't have much hope that He Luodong would send someone to participate. After all, it was a long journey, and the rewards of the Sky Class Trials weren't enough to move He Luodong. But He Luodong was really moved. Of course, what moved him wasn't the rewards, but the fact that Lin Yi would be participating in the Sky Class Trials. This was what the Xianxian ancestor had written to his family at the back of the invitation. The Xianxian ancestor was prepared to let his disciple Little Heir, and the young master of the Heavenly Elixir sect, Sky Silkworm form, attack together to kill Lin Yi. It could be said that He Luoluo hated Lin Yi to the bone, so he wanted to participate in what the Xianxian ancestor had said. Elder Wang, can you call Song over? I have something to talk to her about. He Luodong said after a moment of silence. Yes, Song? Leader, are you going to let her? Elder Wang also read the invitation and letter from Elder Xianxian. He knew what He Luodong was thinking. Yes, I've thought about it. Only Song is familiar with the Central Plains, and her strength is not a problem. He Luodong nodded. Chapter 3374. If you have something to say, just say it. He Luonan could tell that Elder Wang was implying something. But this Elder Wang was one of them, so there was nothing to hide. Yes. Elder Wang nodded. After pondering for a moment, he cautiously said, President, even though guest Elder Song owes us a favor, you must have forgotten that her identity is extraordinary. If we were to request for her help, it would be fine if it's a small matter, but if it's a big matter, shouldn't we consult the honorary Great Elder of the Overseas Cultivators Association? If you didn't mention it, I would have forgotten. He Luonan suddenly realized. In the association, there was an honorary Grand Elder who was also a training maniac. These years he had used the association's resources to break through again, and now he was at Sky Class Late Phase Peak full circle. When He Luonan first came here he was only a mystic Late Phase Peak. But after receiving the resources, this person had been progressing rapidly. He was a rare training genius. But this person's strength was special, and He Luonan didn't dare to restrict him too much. So he gave him the title of Honorary Grand Elder. He didn't ask about the association's affairs, and only trained in isolation every day, trying to find an opportunity to step into the heavenly law. Of course, the association didn't have any use for him at the moment. Even He Luonan hadn't seen this person for a few years. If Chairman Wang didn't mention it, he would have forgotten about it. There was a reason why he mentioned the Honorary Grand Elder at this time. This Honorary Grand Elder's name was Song Xianghua, and it was said that he was guest Song's second grandfather. This made He Luonan feel that a tiger had no grandchildren. His entire family was a top-level master. Of course, this news hadn't been confirmed, and no one dared to ask Song Xianghua about such a small matter. As for guest Elder Song, she was just a guest elder of the Overseas Cultivators Association. She was even more distant than the honorary elders. Her profession was an assassin and mercenary, and she was usually not in the association. She would only come if there was a major event. However, when there was a major event, it was even more impossible for anyone to ask about it. How about this, invite guest Elder Song here and I'll ask her. If she really is Great Elder Song's granddaughter, I'll bring her to meet Great Elder Song. He Luodong had to be careful. Although Song Xianghua was his subordinate, their strength was equal. In the world of practitioners, strength spoke louder. This last matter will have to be used sooner or later. Besides, she is a mercenary and an assassin. She is not like us. Even if she has reached the peak of external martial arts and is considered a practitioner, she will not join us. Since he would have to use this opportunity sooner or later, he might as well use it now. I'm using her this time because I'm afraid that my big brother won't be able to kill that Lin Yi. That Lin Yi was extremely strange. If that little fool and the heavenly silkworm transformation were not his match, wouldn't that mean that Lin Yi would be able to leave alive? But with honored guest Song, a peak late-stage heaven-stage external sect assassin, Lin Yi will definitely die. Oh, that's true. Then I'll go invite honored guest Song. Elder Wang nodded. In the afternoon, President Wang returned, and with him came a young girl who looked to be 18 or 19 years old. She looked like a sunny and beautiful student, wearing a t-shirt, hot pants, and sunglasses. Walking in the crowd, the only thing that could attract people's attention was that she was pretty, and from other aspects, it was really hard to tell that she was a female killer. Seeing honored guest Song come in, He Luodong did not dare to be arrogant. He stood up and greeted, "Honored guest Song, you're here. Welcome, welcome." "President He, are you looking for me for the third matter?" Honored guest Song smiled and did not bother with pleasantries. "After this matter is over, I won't be honored guest Song anymore." He Luodong's face froze for a moment. He laughed dryly and said, "Even if you're not our honored guest elder, we are both practitioners from overseas. We are still friends." "Say it, what's the matter?" Honored guest Song did not say anything else and asked directly, "The matter. Before I say it, I want to ask if honored guest Song has any intention of returning to the Central Plains?" He Luodong asked. "Return to the Central Plains? Wuxia." Honored guest Song was stunned. "Yes, Wuxia." He Luodong said and handed the invitation letter given to him by ancestor Xianxin to honored guest Song. Then he said, "Honored guest Song, take a look at this invitation letter first." "Invitation letter? Where is it from?" Honored guest Song was slightly stunned. Then he took the letter from He Luodong and looked at it. The Heaven Clash Trial? Initiated by the Five Elements sect? Ancient sect? Honored guest Song was obviously not very clear about the division of powers in the Central Plains, but he had a general idea of the framework. "Yes, and it is the most powerful sect among the ancient sections." He Luodong nodded and said, "Honored guest Song, can you participate in this trial?" "Why me?" Honored guest Song did not answer but asked a question instead. "Well, I want you to find a chance to kill someone in the trial. If you agree, I will tell you in detail," He Luodong said. "However, isn't this mission a little too far away?" Honored guest Song slightly frowned. "Moreover, according to the rules set by the King of Assassins, it is against the rules for our assassins to appear in Wuxia without permission. President He, you should know who the King of Assassins is, right?" "Of course I know. He is one of the famous killer Vajra duo." He Luodong laughed dryly and said, "Honored guest Song is a relative of Great Elder Song Xianghua?" Honored guest Song slightly raised his eyebrows and looked at He Luodong with a smile that was not a smile. "President He, you are really well informed. Yes, he is my second grandfather. As far as I know, Great Elder Song is from the Central Plains. You can use the excuse of going home to visit your family. There are no restrictions, right? Even if it is the killer Vajra duo, they can't control that much, right?" He Luodong smiled. "Moreover, there has been no news of the killer Vajra duo for a long time." Honored guest Song thought for a moment and said, "Come with me to see my second grandfather. I will ask him what he has to say." "That is exactly what I was thinking. Honored guest Song, please follow me." He Luodong made an inviting gesture. The place where Song Xianghua went into seclusion was located in the Overseas Cultivators Association. It was a villa with its own courtyard. He Luodong brought honored guest Song to the front of the villa, but he did not rashly enter. Instead, he raised his voice and said, "Is Great Elder Song here? I have something to discuss with him." Chapter 3375. He Luo and guest Song entered the villa. Song Xianghua was already sitting on the sofa in the living room to welcome them. "President He, welcome." "Xiaorui? Why are you here?" Song Xianghua was surprised to see guest Chamberlain Song at the side. "Second Grandpa, I came to find you today because of my own business." Guest Song, who was called Xiaorui, said respectfully. "Oh? Tell me, why are you looking for me?" Song Xianghua nodded. His current attitude was very good. If it was only President he would not have said so much. Let me explain. Luan Duan smiled and took over the conversation. Then he smiled and said, "This is what happened." Saying this, Luo Duan explained everything, including the matter of sending guest elder Song to kill someone. The Central Plains of China. Song Xianghua's eyes flashed with a strong sense of nostalgia. I haven't been back for a long time. I wonder how my family is. Xiao Rui, I will accompany you this time. Luo was overjoyed when he heard that Song Xianghua was going back. If Song Xianghua joined in, wouldn't Lin Yi be dead for sure? Great Elder Song, are you going to join in too? Luo asked carefully. I won't join in. Xiao Rui's strength is enough for her to participate in the trial. I will be a laughingstock if I join at my age. Besides, there should be an age limit for this trial, right? Song Xianghua said lightly. Although there was no age limit for this trial, Luo did not insist since Song Xianghua said so. He could also see that Luo was not interested. Alright, then Great Elder Song agrees to let guest Song help? Xiao Rui owes you a favor. She should help. You don't have to ask for my opinion. Song Xianghua shook his head and said, Alright President if there's nothing else I'll be leaving with Xiao Rui. I'll be going back for a long time this time. We'll meet again someday. Whether Xiao Rui's mission is successful or not, it has nothing to do with us. I want her to live with me for a while longer and feel the atmosphere of her hometown. This, of course, no problem. Luonan was stunned for a moment, then he nodded. Luonan didn't want Song Xianghua and guest Song to go back. Who knew if Song Xianghua would come back in the future? But he couldn't refuse. Facing a peak late-stage heaven rank master, Luonan was under a lot of pressure. He didn't have the confidence to win. Even if Song Xianghua stayed, it would be a lose-lose situation. Furthermore, he had fought the Red Conch's general manager head-on and had yet to recover from his injuries. He did not dare to act rashly now. That's good, then we'll take our leave. Xiao Rui, stay here and help second grandpa pack his things, Song Xianghua said to guest Song. This was equivalent to asking Luonan to leave. First Elder Song, I'll take my leave. See you again. Luonan smiled bitterly and turned to leave. As for the details of guest Elder Song's mission, I will call him later. Luonan didn't have the chance to tell Song Xianghua about the details of the mission before Song Xianghua asked him to stay. He could only choose to talk about it later. Xiao Rui, I didn't expect you to be a peak late-stage heaven rank master at such a young age. When we return to the Song family this time, the Song family status will definitely reach the ancient level. The Song family will become an ancient family. Just thinking about it makes me excited. Song Xianghua's face suddenly showed a trace of deep fascination and nostalgia. When he was young, he left home in pursuit of cultivation. Thinking of the determination in his eyes before he left, and his big brother's reluctance and deep worry, Song Xianghua suddenly felt a little sad. At that time, Song Xianghua didn't know how important a mystic class master was to a secular family. Or rather, he didn't want to think about these things at all. At that time, all he wanted was strength and a higher level of cultivation. But as he grew older and joined the Overseas Cultivators Association, he saw and felt too many things, too many people's fickleness. Song Xianghua finally understood how difficult it was for his big brother at that time. It wasn't easy for an aristocratic family without a powerful expert to continue standing. However, he couldn't tell his big brother about his current situation. In fact, it was the same in the Overseas Cultivators Association. When he was young, he used the Overseas Cultivators Association's resources, and his strength rose steadily. In fact, it was equivalent to selling himself to the Overseas Cultivators Association. He lost his freedom. Even if he was a Song family member, he couldn't go back. Just like Tang Yuqi, if he escaped without permission, the consequences would be unimaginable. Because Tang Yuqi was lucky there was a master protecting him. But for Song Xianghua, if he returned to the Song family, what awaited him would be a life-and-death struggle. Therefore, he didn't let Xiao Rui tell the Song family about his situation. In fact, the Song family didn't even know about Xiao Rui's own situation. Because the assassin group also had the assassin group's rules, they had to strictly keep her identity a secret with her family. Even if she wanted to retire, it was impossible without a strong person's order. The assassin group behind Xiao Rui would never let her go easily. But now it was different. He had stepped into the peak of heaven rank and so was Xiao Rui. At this moment, the two of them joined forces to leave this place and return to the Song family in the Central Plains of China. Even if those people weren't happy, they had to worry about their strength. As long as the two of them didn't really leave the organization, whether it was He Luonan or the people behind Xiao Rui, they wouldn't dare to act recklessly. They could stay in the central plains of China for a period of time, and even go back for a period of time every year. This way they could take care of the organization behind them, and also improve the Song family's overall strength. All these years I've let the Song family down. Maybe the Song family didn't have it easy? The other families are suppressing us, right? Song Xianghua, thinking of the past, tears streamed down his face. Second grandpa, actually, you don't know, my sister is also very powerful. She is now a peak Earth rank master. Xiao Rui quickly comforted. Chapter 3376. Yes, but I heard from her that her boyfriend is very powerful. I don't know what method he used to improve her strength. But if this person wants to be my brother-in-law, he has to go through me first. If he can't even beat me, then he should get lost. Xiao Rui didn't seem to be interested in her sister's boyfriend. Xiao Rui, don't mess around. What's your strength? How many people in the world of cultivation can be your opponent? In the world of assassins, you're a rare existence. Except for the person who disappeared that year, you should be the #1 assassin in the world of assassins, right? If it wasn't for the chance to inherit the power of the spirit beast, do you think you can smoothly step into the peak of the late stage of heaven stage? Moreover, you're at the peak of physical cultivation? Your second grandpa is talented in cultivation. With the help of the elixirs from the Overseas Cultivators Association, I only stepped into the peak of the late stage of heaven stage at the age of 60. Do you think everyone is a cultivation genius? Do you expect Xiao Shan's boyfriend to beat you? Especially since you're an assassin, you're more powerful than the peak of the late stage of heaven stage. In addition, you're an expert in physical cultivation. You're good at speed and strength. Don't bully others. Song Xianghua lectured, don't mess up your sister's business. Look at you. You don't look like a top master. Hee, I'm just saying. Everyone else is. The sister-in-law is half of the brother-in-law's butt. If he's too weak, how can he protect half of his butt? Xiao Rui said with a smile. Your sister isn't getting married to you. It's fine as long as he can protect your sister. Are you going to marry him too? Song Xianghua put on a serious face and took out the dignity of an elder. You and I haven't gone back for a long time. When we go back, don't criticize the Song family's affairs. Otherwise, if my brother sees us, he might think that we're capable and come back to take over the Song family. That won't be good. Do you hear me? Xiao Rui. Xiao Rui made a face. That's not necessarily true. When I was young, my sister always told me that if there's a good man, she'll give him to me first. What if she gives him to me? How can you remember children's words? Xiao Rui, how old are you? Song Xianghua glared at her. I'm just joking. Okay, second grandpa, when are we going back? I'm dying to go home. Xiaosu said anxiously. We will depart tomorrow. You should pack your things first and come here to meet me tomorrow morning. Song Xianghua instructed. All right, second grandpa, see you tomorrow. After saying that, Xiao Rui floated out of the window like a gust of wind. She was as fast as she could be. It was rare to see a physical master at the peak of the late stage of heaven stage. Her speed was even faster than the purple electric storm beast. He Luodan returned to his room with an ugly expression. Elder Wang quickly greeted him. President, what happened? Your complexion doesn't look too good. Sigh. Don't mention it. He Luodan waved his hand with a gloomy expression. After guest Song leaves for the mission, I'm afraid he will no longer be our Overseas Cultivators Association's guest elder. Of course, there's nothing wrong with that. After all, our people helped her before. She helped us 3 times to repay our kindness. This is the 3rd time, so she has nothing to do with it. However, Grand Elder Song Xianghua is also going back to the Central Plains. I'm afraid that once he leaves, who knows when he will return. What? Grand Elder Song is leaving too? Elder Wang was shocked. Then you didn't dissuade him? How could I dissuade him? He's not an ordinary person. He's at the same level as me. How could I threaten him? In our Overseas Cultivators Association, I'm the only one at the peak of the late stage of heaven stage. Moreover, I'm injured. Do you think I'd dare to act rashly? He Luodan shook his head gloomily. Forget it. We can only blame ourselves for the fact that our Overseas Cultivators Association was established too recently. We don't have many masters and we don't have much sense of belonging to the sect. All these years, we've been using cultivation resources to tie them down. Otherwise, we would have disbanded a long time ago. Sigh, that's true. However, now that Elder Song Mingyu has left, we no longer have anything to do with guest Elder Song anymore. The strength of our Overseas Cultivators Association has suddenly become much weaker. Elder Wang sighed. Forget it. I'll think of a way in the future. Let's see if my brother can help me. If it doesn't work, I'll turn our association into a branch of the Five Elements sect. President, he suffered a huge blow today. President, you don't have to be so pessimistic. Things will get better. Elder Wang said. I hope so. He Luodan nodded helplessly. After Xiao Rui settled her matters in the assassin organization, she went to her second grandfather Song Xianghua's villa the next morning. Although the assassin group behind her also tried their best to retain her, Xiao Rui's strength was there. They did not dare to do anything to her. They could only tell her to finish her task and come back as soon as possible if possible. Second grandfather, I'm ready. Shall I go back now? Xiao Rui was a little excited and expectant. After all, she was a young person. She hadn't gone back for a long time. Her emotions were written all over her face. Well, let's go now. Song Xianghua was also ready. He had already booked the plane tickets. He picked up his luggage and got into a black Mercedes-Benz with Xiao Rui. This was arranged by He Luodan. Although he didn't want Song Xianghua to leave, he had to abide by the etiquette. Otherwise, Song Xianghua would have a reason not to come back. President He? You're here too? After Xiao Rui got into the car, she suddenly realized that He Luodan was sitting in the front passenger seat of the car. Grand Elder Song and Guest Song are returning home in glory. Naturally, I have to send you off warmly. He Luodan smiled and said, I've put some cultivation elixirs in the car as a gift before we leave. President He, you're welcome. Xiao Rui smiled and nodded. She accepted it with a smile. Of course, she didn't feel guilty. In fact, in the Devil's Trial, the Overseas Cultivator Association helped her. One mission was enough to repay them. However, Xiao Rui was also a person who knew how to repay kindness. That was why she increased the mission to 3 times. She also became a guest elder of the Overseas Cultivator Association. In fact, these things were what she deserved. This is the information of the person you need to kill. He Luodan handed a piece of information to Xiao Rui and said, I believe that Guest Song should have heard of this person. Chapter 3377. Yes, that's him. Yuan nodded. He's just a middle-stage heaven stage expert. Is there a need to gather so much information? Xiao Rui shook her head when she saw Lin Yi's strength. Guest Song, don't underestimate him. This Lin Yi is someone who can call the wind and summon the rain in the world of practitioners in the Central Plains. It's said that he can instantly kill masters with the strength of Sky-class late-phase peak. However, when he was overseas he didn't manage to do that. Perhaps it's because he's not acclimatized, or maybe it's because of other reasons. But his name in the Central Plains world of practitioners is like thunder to the ears. He Luan Duan said, I won't hide it from you, Guest Song. My brother is the acting head of the Five Elements sect, and he's also the one who started this heaven-class trials. He also wants to kill Lin Yi, so he sent 2 Sky-class late-phase peak spiritual masters. One is the sect leader of the Heavenly Elixir sect. His name is Heavenly Silkworm Transformation. He just broke through the peak late-stage heaven stage. The other is his disciple, Xiao. He's a famous top expert at the peak late-stage heaven stage. These 2 people can kill Lin Yi together, but they don't have absolute confidence. That's why I'm asking you to help. Is Lin Yi that powerful? Xiao Rui was a little shocked when she heard He Luan's words. That's right. This information has detailed records of Lin Yi. You have to read it carefully. He Luan nodded seriously. This information was compiled by Ancestor Xianxian. It didn't exaggerate or belittle Lin Yi. It truthfully recorded some things that happened after Lin Yi's debut. Of course, some of these things were based on guesses. There were no witnesses, so they were all marked with question marks to indicate that they were not verified. However, even so, it was enough to shock Xiao Rui. Lin Yi was really a ruthless person in the Central Plains cultivation world. President He, I'll be careful. Xiao Rui secretly clicked her tongue. At this moment she finally saw Lin Yi as an opponent. That person had offended so many powerful figures in the cultivation world of the Central Plains, yet he was still alive and well. That in itself spoke of a problem. Moreover, the Five Elements sect had been scheming to kill Lin Yi, but they couldn't find a way to do so. Instead, several people had died. This also showed that Lin Yi was not easy to deal with. Well, just be careful. He Luonan saw that Guest Song was finally looking at his opponent seriously and felt relieved. The car slowly drove to the airport. He Luowu left after sending them to the security checkpoint, while Song Xianghua and Xiao Rui boarded the plane to Beijing. The foundation of the Song family was in Yanjing City. In the past, House Song, House Lu, and House Qin weren't the most prominent families in Yanjing, but with House Yu in front of them, they were too dazzling. These three families became the background. However, ever since House Yu fell, after Lin Yi established the Cultivator Alliance, the lives of these aristocratic families became much better. There were no more conflicts and suppression between them. Everyone became allies and moved forward together. This was the case with House Song. The head of House Song, Song Xiangwen. It was much better than before. Now, House Song had taken over some of House Yu's businesses in Yanjing. Even now, even the hidden houses didn't dare to act rashly in front of Song Xiangwen. There was no other reason than that Song Lingshan had an ambiguous boyfriend, Lin Yi. With Lin Yi around, who would be stupid enough to mess with House Song? Wasn't that looking for death? A taxi stopped at the entrance of an alley. This alley was all House Song's property. It was considered private territory. Of course, taxis couldn't go in. The alley was blocked. Song Xianghua got out of the car with Xiao Rui and walked into the alley. He was dressed very differently, like the upper-class attire of the 30s and 40s. He wore a top hat, a long robe and gold-rimmed glasses. This style of dressing made many passers-by stop. Of course, there were many extras nowadays, especially in a place like Yanjing. Who knew if Song Xianghua was an actor or not? Both of you, this is private territory. You can't go in. If you're here for sightseeing, please turn around. Song Xianghua and Xiao Rui had just entered the alley when a disciple of House Song stopped them. You're from House Song? Song Xianghua stopped and looked at the grass and trees here. It was just like 40 years ago when he left. However, he didn't recognize this young disciple in front of him. Yes. You know House Song? The disciple froze. Yes. My name is Song Xianghua. Song Xianghua wasn't annoyed by the disciple's obstruction. He smiled and said, I'm the head of your house, Song Xiangwen's younger brother. What? The disciple heard Song Xianghua's words and was stunned. You're telling the truth? If what second grandpa said is not true, then what I said is not true either. Xiao Rui walked over and took off her sunglasses. She glared at the disciple. Your second miss? That disciple had seen Xiao Rui 5 years ago. At that time, Xiao Rui was only 14 years old. This year she was already 19 years old. She had not been home for 5 years, but she still looked the same. Her voice had not changed much, so the disciple recognized her immediately. Second elder master, second young lady, please come in. I'm sorry. It's okay. I don't blame you. It'd be weird if you knew me. Song Xianghua waved his hand and said indifferently, Is my big brother here? Second grandpa, I'll take you to see the head of the house. The disciple said quickly. Okay. Lead the way. Song Xianghua smiled and nodded. The disciple walked in front of them respectfully and led them to a courtyard house in the innermost part of the alley. There was someone guarding the door. It was an old man with a slightly hunched back. He was a master at the peak of the late phase of golden class. Song Xiaowu, why did you bring people here without permission? Don't you know the rules here? The old man's face darkened as he scolded. Old butler, these two are. The disciple called Song Xiaowu tried to explain. Xiangda? Are you Xiangda? Song Xianghua looked at the old man in front of him, and his eyes flashed with excitement. You are? The old butler called Xiangda turned to look at Song Xianghua with a hint of suspicion in his eyes. I'm Xianghua. Song Xianghua said excitedly. It was no wonder that Song Xiangda didn't recognize Song Xianghua. Song Xiangda didn't expect him to come back. After all, there had been no news of him for so many years. Song Xiangda even thought that he would never see Song Xianghua in this life. It was just like a poem. Leaving home when I was young and coming back when I was old, my accent never changes. Chapter 3378. But to Song Xianghua, Song Xiangda was his and his big brother Song Xiangwen's follower when they were young. He was like a little brother to Song Xianghua. His face still looked the same as when he was young, and the only person close to his big brother was him. That was why Song Xianghua guessed that this person might be Song Xiangda. Xianghua? Second young master? Song Xiangda's face showed an expression of disbelief. You're Xianghua's second young master? Second young master, you're back? Third grandpa, you don't recognize me? Xiao Rui walked over at this time. It's Miss Ling Ran. You're back too? Song Xiangda's way of addressing them was a bit messy. He still called Song Xianghua the same way he called him when he was young, but he called Xiao Rui the way a housekeeper would call a big house. Yes, I came back with second grandpa. Song Ling Rui nodded. She was Lingshan's sister. So it's the second miss who found the second young master. Second master. Song Xiangda nodded in realization and changed the way he addressed Song Xianghua to second master. He had already thought of the age difference between him and Song Xianghua. Second master, come with me quickly. If master sees you, he will definitely be very happy. Okay, I miss my big brother too. Song Xianghua nodded. How has House Song been all these years? How are you and my big brother? Second master, we're all fine. Master is now a master at the peak of the late phase of the golden class, and so am I. Song Xiangda said, although I can't say that we're at the top of the aristocratic families, at least we made it through. Of course, this year is even better because the secular families formed the Cultivator Alliance, so there's not much pressure. Man, I came back late. If I came back earlier, it would be easier for you guys. Song Xianghua blamed himself. But it's okay. This time Xiao Rui and I are back. We'll make House Song famous in the Central Plains. We'll become an existence no weaker than the ancient noble houses. Ah. Song Xiangda listened to Song Xianghua's words and paused for a moment before nodding. Yes, second elder, you were a mystic late phase peak when you left. I'm afraid you've already broken through to Earth class after all these years, right? Second grandpa is now a peak late stage heaven stage expert. Song Lingrui interrupted. What? Song Xiangda was shocked and shouted. He was stunned on the spot and couldn't speak. Song Xiangwen, who was in the room in the courtyard, heard Song Xiangda's exclamation. Song Xiangwen, who had just come out of the room, said, Lao San, why are you shouting? What happened? Master, you're here? Good news, good news. Old Master Xianghua is back. Song Xiangda shouted excitedly. Not only that, according to the second mist, the second master's strength has already broken through to the peak of the late stage of heaven rank. Third brother, are you saying that second brother is back? Xiao Rui also came back? They're all back? After Song Xiangwen heard this, he was shocked and quickly walked over. Seeing Song Xianghua and Song Lingrui standing beside Song Xiangda, Song Xiangwen suddenly burst into tears. Lao San, you're finally back. Big brother, I'm sorry. I didn't know any better when I was young. I left just like that. Song Xianghua lowered his head with some guilt. At this moment, he was no longer the high and mighty Grand Elder of the Overseas Cultivators Association, nor was he a top cultivator. He was like a child who did something wrong. It's okay, it's okay. It's good that you're back. Song Xiangwen smiled and patted Song Xianghua's shoulder, just like when he was young, full of love and kindness. Yes, I'm back. Only now did I realize how important home is to me. Song Xianghua sighed. Right, Lao San, I just heard from Lao San that you're now a peak late stage heaven stage expert? Song Xiangwen suddenly remembered what Song Xiangda said before. Yes, big brother, it's not just me. Your precious granddaughter is the same as me. She's also a peak late stage heaven stage expert. Song Xianghua said with a smile. Even I can't say that I can beat her. What? Xiao Rui? You're also a peak late stage heaven stage expert? And you're a peak external expert? Song Xiangwen said in shock. I'm sorry, Grandpa. I hid it from you before. It's the organization's rules. I can't reveal this to my family. Song Lingrui stuck out her tongue in embarrassment. Second grandpa is the Grand Elder of the Overseas Cultivators Association. I'm also the Foreign Elder of the Overseas Cultivators Association. That's why he knows? Oh? Then now you guys. Song Xiangwen was slightly stunned after listening. Then are you guys going back? Actually, we're coming back now because of our strength. The organization behind us doesn't dare to offend us easily. Song Xianghua explained, especially since Xiao Rui and I are related. We're a family. Two peak late stage heaven stage experts working together is enough to shock the overseas cultivation world. So now that we're back, they won't dare to say anything. They won't do anything to us as long as we go back for a period of time every year. Of course, we can stay here for the rest of the time. That's really great. Song Xiangwen said happily. Oh yes, second brother, I'm not surprised that you can become a peak late stage heaven stage expert. Because you've been a martial arts fanatic since you were young. Every day you've been cultivating. I understand that. But Xiao Rui, how did you become a top expert? Moreover, you're a top external expert? It's said that there are very few external experts who can cultivate to peak late stage heaven stage expert. At least, I haven't heard of it yet. It's a coincidence? Song Lingrui pondered for a moment and didn't say the reason. There were too many inside stories involved. The fewer people who knew, the better. Song Lingrui didn't want to implicate her family. Although this matter seemed to be settled for the time being, who knew that those people wouldn't settle the score? Song Xiangwen thought that Song Lingrui couldn't say it because of the rules of the organization behind her, so he didn't ask much. It's good that you're back. It's good that you're back. Our Song family is really blessed. It's just that your sister isn't at home. If she were at home she would be very happy. Chapter 3379. Xiao Rui, don't mess around. You're a top-notch master now, why are you still so naughty? Your brother-in-law is House Song's benefactor and also your sister's choice, it's not up to you to decide. Song Xiangwen quickly said. He was very concerned about things that involved Lin Yi. If it wasn't for Lin Yi, House Song wouldn't have its current status. He's a man and he's still not my opponent. He's not worthy of my sister. Song Lingrui wanted to see the world in chaos. Even if he can't beat me, he should at least tie with me, right? Your sister is very busy now, I don't know if she has time to come back. Let's talk about it when she's free. Song Xiangwen had a headache. He knew that Song Lingrui was a little like a little witch. Although he heard from Lingshan that Lin Yi was now a sky-class mid-phase, it was impossible for him to fight against a sky-class late-phase peak full circle. What Song Xiangwen knew about Lin Yi was limited to the noble house level. At most, he knew a little on the hidden level. As for the ancient level, he really didn't have any information channels, so he didn't know that Lin Yi had shaken the entire Huaxiao practitioner world. So he was afraid that Lin Yi would be beaten up by Song Lingrui. That wouldn't be good. No matter what, Lin Yi was House Song's benefactor and someone Lingshan liked. How could he be beaten up by Song Lingrui? So, Song Xiangwen was afraid that Song Lingrui would cause trouble for Lin Yi in private. He didn't even dare to say Lin Yi's name. He could only evade, hoping that Song Lingrui would forget about it in a few days. Alright, I'll call her myself later. Song Lingrui didn't want to give up. Second master, I've already ordered the kitchen to prepare a sumptuous banquet. Let's go. Song Xiangda also saw that Song Xiangwen didn't want to talk about Lin Yi, so he changed the topic. That's great, I haven't eaten home food for a long time. I'm drooling. Is there any Yanjing roast duck? Song Lingrui's mouth watered when she heard that there was going to be a sumptuous banquet. Yes, second missy, the chef downstairs is baking. Song Xiangda nodded and said. Then what are you waiting for? I want to eat. Sure enough, Song Lingrui temporarily forgot about finding trouble with Lin Yi, which made Song Xiangwen feel relieved. These days the hidden Tang family had not been living well. Among the hidden families, other than the Zhao family who had a grudge against Lin Yi, there was also the Yu family who had a close relationship with Lin Yi. Among the other families, the weakest was the hidden Tang family. The relationship between the hidden Tang family and Lin Yi was very subtle. Tang Boss's daughter, Tang Yun, was Lin Yi's girlfriend. However, Tang Boss broke off the father-daughter relationship with Tang Yun and even chased away Tang Yun's biological mother, Xiao Ming. In this way the hidden Tang family broke off their relationship with Lin Yi. If it wasn't for the friendship between Tang Yun and Lin Yi, the Tang family would probably be in an even more awkward situation. Although Tang Boss went to Snow Valley and obtained Tang Yun's forgiveness, it was only forgiveness. It could only mean that Tang Yun or Lin Yi couldn't find trouble with the hidden Tang family in the future. However, it was impossible to obtain any benefits from them. Originally, if there were no accidents, it would be good enough that this relationship could be maintained. After all, the Tang family had their own businesses and properties. As long as Lin Yi and Tang Yun didn't find trouble with them, they could live well. However, now, someone had their eyes on the hidden Tang family. Several of the hidden Tang family's properties near the Tang family fortress had been robbed. Moreover, the robbers were a group of people similar to death warriors. They didn't communicate with others at all and directly started robbing. Moreover, their strength was very strong, enough to fight against a Heaven Stage Master. Although Tang Taizhong was an early stage Heaven Stage Master, he was surrounded and beaten up by a group of Heaven Stage Masters. Not only did he not gain the upper hand, but he was also seriously injured. This made everyone in the Tang family feel gloomy. Tang Taizhong was lying on a wheelchair. Beside him were his eldest son, Tang Boss, his second son and his grandson, Tang Yun. Everyone tell me, what should we do? Where did this group of people come from? A large group of death warriors with Heaven Stage strength came to rob our Tang family's properties. If this continues, won't our Tang family be robbed clean? Who knows when they will come to our Tang family's base camp to commit murder? I can't stop them even if I want to. Tang Taizhong's face was gloomy. The Tang family had become a hidden aristocratic family and had been powerful for hundreds of years. Who would have thought that they would be bullied? I think the most important thing is to find out where these people came from. If they are from the hidden level, we will contact the Hidden Aristocratic Family Arbitration Association and then reveal it to a few powerful ancient sects and ask them to make a decision. Tang Boss said after thinking about it. The hidden level can't have so many Heaven Stage Masters. If there were, then it wouldn't be a hidden level anymore. They would all be in the ancient level. Tang Taijung shook his head. Moreover, that hidden aristocratic family arbitration association only exists in name. It's useless to respond. How about we go to Snow Valley and ask for Elder Tang Yun's help? Tang Yun's second son thought about it and said. In the end, Tang Yun is Big Brother's daughter, my niece. She can't just watch as the Tang family is in trouble, right? No? You didn't see Xiaoming's attitude towards me. Last time when I went with Yu, if it wasn't for Yu, she would have kicked us out. That's already extremely benevolent. How could she stand up for us? Tang Big Bro knew his own limits. He knew that asking Tang Yun for help at this time wouldn't have much of an effect. Moreover, Tang Yun is only an elder of Snow Valley. In the end, she still has the Grand Elder and the Valley Master. With her current strength, even if she makes a move, she won't be a match for those people. That's true. Tang Yun nodded. But this won't do, that won't do. Won't our Tang family be in danger? How about? Tang Yu hesitated and said. We asked the Supernatural Investigation Bureau for help? The Supernatural Investigation Bureau? Tang Taijung shook his head. The Supernatural Investigation Bureau only administers and coordinates the aristocratic families. With their strength, they can't interfere with the matters of the hidden level. What's the use of asking them? Chapter 3380. All right. Tang Taijung nodded. Find out where these people came from and why they're targeting us, the hidden house, and then come up with a countermeasure. Who's going to make the call? Boss Tang felt that this was a good idea, at least find out where these people came from first. I'll make the call myself. Boss Tang didn't give a damn about the investigation department before, but now, to show his sincerity, he had to make the call himself. This morning, Lin Yi had just woken up and was making breakfast for Shu and Xan Yen when he got a call from Lingshan. Sweetheart, what are you doing? Lingshan's voice was soft, and it triggered a physiological reaction in him. I say, Lingshan, what are you doing so early in the morning? You don't need anything from me again, do you? Lin Yi subconsciously thought that Lingshan had something to ask of him. Lingshan had been very busy with work before, and Lin Yi had a lot of things to do as well. Lin Yi had found a chance to raise her strength to Earth-class late-phase peak, and Lin Yi had been busy with other things after that. He hadn't seen her since he came back. I got a promotion, Lingshan said. Promotion? You're the chief now? Where's Jun bro? Lin Yi paused. I'm still the vice chief, Lingshan denied. Still the vice chief? What kind of promotion is that? Lin Yi didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Are you messing with me this early in the morning? Haha, no, I'm the vice chief of the investigation department, and the vice chief of the East Sea Police Department, Lingshan explained. Right now, my position as the vice director is even more important than a normal director's position. Wherever I go, people have to listen to my orders and orders. Why'd you go to the investigation department? And you're the vice chief? Uncle Feng's your subordinate now? Lin Yi found it weird, this change in position was too big. After all, the investigation department had a lot of authority. Director Feng is my direct superior. He got promoted, and the old Chief Xia was getting old, so he was transferred to another department to be a leader. He's no longer in a dangerous position like this. Lingshan said. Isn't it because you increased my strength that I'm here? I've become an Earth-class late-phase peak master, and I'm from a worldly family. They've been keeping in touch with the Supernatural Investigation Bureau, and now they've captured me to be their able-bodied man. What about Qintian and the others? If Lingshan was going, wouldn't Qintian be going too? Wu Qintian didn't agree. He said he'd wait for you to come back and ask for your opinion. He's just an instructor in name. Lingshan explained. I'm different from him. I'm part of the system, and I'm the vice director of the police station. I have to obey my superior's orders, but Wu Qintian is different. I see. Lin Yi nodded, but he wasn't too interested in the position. You're looking for me, but I'm not interested. You're talking about this? No, we received a report from the hidden house this morning, and Director Feng hasn't agreed to help them yet, so he asked for my opinion first. That's why I called you first. Lingshan said weakly. Lin Yi didn't know what to say. Uncle Feng asked for your opinion, why are you asking for mine? This is an internal matter. Isn't it because it involves the hidden house? You and Tang Yu from their house, don't you know each other? Isn't she familiar? Lingshan suddenly remembered that she couldn't talk about Tang Yun, so she pushed Tang Yu out. What's going on? Plus, aren't the hidden houses not under the jurisdiction of the investigation department? Lin Yi was confused. Actually, After Uncle Feng took over the position, he wanted to bring the hidden houses under the jurisdiction of the investigation department. You know these uncertainties, and if we don't control them, they might do things that go against the rules of the world. Ling Shan said. This is an opportunity. Director Feng doesn't want to miss it, but things are troublesome. It'll be fine if we handle it well, but if we don't, we'll lose face and it'll have the opposite effect. Hidden houses, huh? It's good to integrate them. Lin Yi said faintly. Uncle Feng is right, this is an opportunity, and if we use it well, it won't be hard to integrate the hidden houses. Once this is done, send a notice to those hidden houses and normal sects in the name of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau and the Central Plains Cultivators Alliance. Tell them to join the Central Plains Cultivators Alliance and be under the control of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau and me. This will bring about benefits as well. When they're in trouble, I'll help them. If they don't want to, then they'll be my enemies. Ugh. Ling Shan didn't expect Lin Yi to support her like this. She was very touched. Lin Yi, you're a good man. Thank you, I don't even know how to repay you. Actually, I have a lot of connections with the investigation department. I've trained there before, and no matter what, you and Uncle Feng are the closest people to me. Who else would I help if not you? Lin Yi smiled. Tell me what happened to the hidden house? This has something to do with the case I've been investigating. Lin Yi, do you remember that unsolved bank robbery? Ling Shan said. Bank robbery? I think it was Jianghu who did it. Lin Yi said straightforwardly. Only he could make those weird puppets to rob banks and jewelry stores. That's what you say, but I'm a police, I can't do anything without evidence. Plus, he's not doing it anymore and I can't find any clues. Ling Shan sighed helplessly. But this case with the hidden Tang house isn't that different from the bank robbery. What do you mean? Lin Yi asked, interested. Chapter 3381. This is similar to the jewelry store and bank robberies as well as the kidnapping case. You're saying that this is all Jianghu's doing? Lin Yi asked directly. Whether or not it's Jianghu's doing we don't know yet, but I feel like these cases are very similar. We can investigate them together. Plus, it's beyond the police, the department is taking over now. Ling Shan said, the main problem is that in our department the strongest practitioners are just me and Wu Qintian, who's just an outsider. We're not a match for those death warriors at all. You're saying that you want me to help? Lin Yi finally understood why Ling Shan was calling. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Ling Shan was a little embarrassed. Do you have time? When do we leave? Lin Yi asked after some thought. The sooner the better, House Tang won't be able to hold on much longer. Ling Shan said. Let's leave today then. Lin Yi thought about it, he didn't have anything to do yet, and Yushu couldn't leave for the next 2 days. Lin Yi didn't have anything else to do either, so he agreed right away. That's great. Ling Shan was very excited. Lin Yi, I love you. This is great. I've just arrived at the department, and I've made a huge contribution. From now on, the hidden houses will be under the control of the department, and I'll be the founder. Lin Yi didn't know what to say, but he remembered that Ling Shan was the type of person who cared a lot about achievements and glory. He'd help her if he could. And come find me when you're ready. All right, you're a good man. Ling Shan hung up happily. Lin Yi had to tell Yushu and Xinyan that he was going out, but this time he planned on bringing Xinyan along. After 2 days of training, Lin Yi realized that Xinyan hadn't fainted at all. In fact, she was full of energy. In other words, the method of training while lying in the energy stones was very doable. Lin Yi would put the stones in the jade space to charge during the day and take them out at night. Basically, the stones wouldn't lose any energy and there wouldn't be a gap in time. Oh, it smells so good. I think Shield Bro made that pork porridge for me and Yao Yao. Yushu woke up and gasped at the sight of the pot of minced meat porridge in the dining room, her mouth watering. Seeing that Shu was back to normal, Lin Yi couldn't help but let out a sigh of relief. It seemed like Shu had accepted the fact that she was going to Flaming Mountain. Xinyan woke up as well, but she wasn't as exaggerated as Yushu. She liked Lin Yi's cooking, but she didn't scream. She just sat at the table quietly and started serving porridge. I'm planning on going out for a bit. There's something I need to take care of. Shu, can you stay here? Lin Yi asked after some hesitation. What about Xinyan, sis? Yushu didn't answer and asked instead. She's coming with me, Lin Yi said. Shu, you know that Xinyan can help me with my training. Then? Can Shu come with you? Yushu raised her head and looked at Lin Yi. Shield Bro, this is the last time I'm going out with Shu, okay? Lin Yi looked at Shu's eyes and didn't have the heart to reject her. Shu was right, this might be the last time he was going to take her out. I'll give Xiaoka a call and we'll go. Xiaoka and Yu Dake went to the orphanage these 2 days. Xiaoka still couldn't bear to leave the orphanage, so she went with her brother to see if there was anything she could do. At the very least, she needed to tell Ken about the future development of the orphanage before she left. Xiaoka heard that Linny was going out and naturally she rushed back. In fact, the orphanage didn't need her to do much anymore. Her method of making money really wasn't suitable for the orphanage now. The orphanage needed to develop well in the long term, and stealing was definitely not a good idea. Fatty Lai hired a few financial experts to operate a welfare fund and invest all the money into the construction of the orphanage. This was the final development model. The main reason why Lin Yi brought Xiaoka was for safety. With Xiaoka's protection, Lin Yi was basically invincible in a fight with others. Lin Yi was ready when Ling Shan drove over. Her car was still the Cheetah, but after parking it in Lin Yi's villa, she got in Lin Yi's Grand Cherokee. Lin Yi's car was specially modified by the Supernatural Investigation Department. The performance and comfort were good, suitable for long-distance driving. Lin Yi looked at the valiant Ling Shan, suddenly noticing that her chest seemed to have gotten a lot bigger. Did this girl get her breasts enlarged? Feeling Lin Yi's gaze, Ling Shan was a little proud. How is it? You're about to surpass Shu, right? This was the happiest thing for Ling Shan. Shu didn't like her in the past, and she thought that she wasn't inferior to Shu in any way except for the fact that her chest wasn't as big as Shu's. Although the two made up after Lin Yi got injured and fainted, Ling Shan still wanted to surpass Yushu. After Ling Shan joined the Supernatural Investigation Department, her routine training increased a lot. Ling Shan was a spiritual practitioner, so she basically ignored the physical training that only physical practitioners would do. But the Supernatural Investigation Department had their own rules. Even Director Feng Tianlong had to participate in the routine training, so how could Ling Shan be special? What Ling Shan didn't expect, however, was that some of the routine training like push-ups and chin-ups actually helped her chest develop a second time. It was getting bigger and bigger, and now it was finally going to surpass Yushu's. I'm younger than you, I can still grow, Yushu said with disdain. Ling Shan and Ling Shan had made up, but the two still didn't see eye to eye. You're not as tall as me. If you grow any taller, you'll be too heavy and you'll have to hold your weight when you go out. It's so tiring, Ling Shan said sarcastically. Alright, Ling Shan, Shu, stop arguing. What's there to argue about? Look at how nice Xiaoka is, she doesn't mind. Lin Yi said, feeling a headache coming on. Thief sis, can you teach me how you got your chest enhancement? Xiaoka said weakly. Chapter 3382. Female Thief. Ling Shan looked at Lin Yi surprised. You told her? Yes, she knows. Otherwise she wouldn't be this close to me. You know her personality, don't you? Lin Yi smiled bitterly. Ling Shan nodded and didn't say anything else. The five got in the car. Yu Dake stayed at home to look after the house, and the car headed towards Hidden Tang's house. On the way, Lin Yi felt like he had been to Hidden Tang's house before, but at the same time he felt like he hadn't been there. There were a few fragments in his memory, but they didn't fit together. This made Lin Yi a little confused. What was wrong with him? Ever since he went crazy, Lin Yi seemed to have forgotten a lot of things. Some of them seemed to be very important, but Lin Yi had no recollection of them at all. This made Lin Yi feel helpless, but there was nothing he could do about it. After all, Lin Yi didn't know what he'd forgotten. It was just a feeling, and even if he asked someone else, he wouldn't know how to ask. They wouldn't know what he'd forgotten or what he'd remembered. Lin Yi didn't even know who he'd been with when he'd forgotten those memories. Hidden Tang's house, after hearing that the investigation department had taken over the case, they sent people to investigate as fast as they could. Tang Taijung showed enough sincerity, sending eldest Tang to welcome them at the gate. Of course, from Tang Taijung's point of view, sending his eldest son to greet the people from the investigation department was already giving them enough face. In the past, the investigation department didn't need the head of the house to greet them personally. The jeep slowly approached and Lin Yi stopped the car beside eldest Tang. But when he saw that only one person from Hidden Tang's house came to greet them, he couldn't help but frown. Of course, Lin Yi wasn't someone who liked to put on airs, but the Hidden Tang's face wasn't for Lin Yi, but for the investigation department, for Ling Shan and Tianlong. Their attitude made Lin Yi very unhappy. Ling Shan saw that Boss Tang had come to greet them and wanted to get out of the car, but Lin Yi stopped her. Big Bro Tang was originally waiting for the people in the car to get off, but when he saw that the car had stopped for a long time and no one got off, he suddenly became a little annoyed. Even if I beg your Supernatural Investigation Bureau, you don't have to put on airs like this, right? Even the strongest among you isn't at the heaven rank. What kind of ostentatious display are you putting on here? Do I need to personally invite you out of the car? As he thought of this, Big Bro Tang opened his mouth. There was a hint of resentment in his voice. "Friends from the Supernatural Investigation Bureau, why aren't you getting out of the car? What's the meaning of this?" Lin casually opened the window. Before, because of the film on the window, eldest brother Tang couldn't see the people inside the car, so he didn't know that Lin was inside. When Lin spoke, he was shocked. "Is this how the hidden Tang family asks for help?" Lin said coldly. "We're here, and the Tang family sent you to welcome us alone?" Gah. When Big Bro Tang heard Lin speak, this voice was still fresh in his memory. Especially when he saw Lin Yi's face, he was suddenly scared. "It's young hero Lin who has graced us with his presence, this? I thought it was someone from the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. I used to be a member of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau, didn't you know?" Lin sneered and asked. Big Bro Tang was stunned. He didn't expect the Supernatural Investigation Bureau to have such a strong backer. Of course, this backer had only recently become powerful. At the level of the hidden Tang family, they could more or less come into contact with some of the things that happened in the ancient times. They knew some of Lin Yi's deeds. In the ancient times, there weren't many people who dared to go against Lin Yi. Not to mention this, just from the hidden level alone, Lin Yi could already be said to have destroyed any family he wanted. Didn't House Zhao, who had hosted the Hidden House Summit, get wiped out just like that? At that thought, Big Bro Tang quickly said, "My father is personally preparing a banquet for all of you. Please forgive me for not being a good host. I'll call him right now and ask if he's ready." Haha. Lin chuckled, not denying it. Big Bro Tang quickly took out his phone and called Tang Taijung. "Father, is the banquet ready? If it's ready, come out and welcome us. Young hero Lin and the others are here." Tang Taijung was sitting in the living room waiting for Lingshan. When he received the call, he froze. Preparing a banquet? Didn't they already prepare a banquet? Plus, Tang Taijung, as the head of the house, didn't need to prepare a banquet himself? Wait, what did Big Bro Tang say? Young hero Lin was here? He was going to welcome him? Who was this young hero Lin? But Tang Taijung also knew that Big Bro Tang wouldn't call him for no reason. There had to be a reason why he was lowering his status in front of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. So, Tang Taijung stood up and said to Second Bro, go to the kitchen and tell them to prepare a banquet of the highest class." "Yes, father." Second Bro Tang was a little puzzled. Why did his father change his mind with just a call from Big Bro? The banquet before was of a high standard, but that was only relative. It could only be said that it was used to entertain guests from the hidden world. The highest class banquet was used to entertain guests from the ancient world. Could it be that such a guest had come today? Tang Taijung thought about who this young hero Lin was as he walked. A few steps later, when he was almost at the door, he suddenly thought of a person. It made him shiver and he quickened his steps again. When Tang Taijung reached the Tang Fortress, he saw Lin Yi in the driver's seat, talking to Big Bro Tang. He knew that he had guessed correctly. The only person who could make Big Bro Tang so nervous was Lin Yi. This young man, who didn't even put the ancient world in his eyes, had been suppressed by several families at the Hidden House Summit some time ago. But now, even the people from the ancient sects didn't dare to cause trouble for him. Things were really unpredictable. If Tang Taijung had known that this would happen, he wouldn't have suppressed Lin Yi, and he wouldn't have separated Big Bro Tang and Tang Yun from their father-daughter relationship at the banquet. It was a bad move. One wrong move and everything went wrong. "Young hero Lin, you're here. I didn't think that this matter would bother young hero Lin. It's such an honor to have you here, hero Lin," Tang Taijung said with a smile as he ran over to flatter Lin Yi. Chapter 3383. But his words stunned Lin Yi. Who was House Tang's son-in-law? Since when did he become House Tang's son-in-law? Seeing Lin Yi standing there, Boss Tang felt awkward. Tang Taijung didn't know what Lin Yi's expression was and didn't know what to say. "Shield bro, I think they've gone crazy thinking about their son-in-law." Yushu got out of the car and said to Lin Yi, "Right, Ice Palace's Bing Tang seems to be related to House Tang." Oh. Lin Yi understood. Could it be that House Tang heard that Bing Tang was going to be his little wife, and so they treated him as their son-in-law? Seeing Lin Yi's indifferent expression, Boss Tang didn't dare to say more. He thought that Lin Yi was angry at House Tang for breaking off the relationship with Tang Yun at the birthday banquet. If Lin Yi's anger hadn't subsided, wouldn't it be suicide to say more? "Young hero Lin, I've already ordered the kitchen to prepare dinner. Do you want me to sit now or do you want to rest first?" Tang Taijung didn't dare to mention Tang Yun anymore. He became more and more respectful towards Lin Yi. He even called himself I to ask for Lin Yi's forgiveness. Although there were some dishes that Tang Taijung had asked Second Bro to add later, it didn't mean that all the dishes had to be served before they could be eaten. So, with the addition of the dishes that had been prepared beforehand, it was time to sit down and enjoy the banquet. I'm not hungry nor tired. We came here to solve a problem. Let's talk about your hidden house Tang first? Lin Yi waved his hand and rejected Tang Taijung's suggestion. He went straight to the main topic. Lin Yi was a chef himself. He didn't need this dinner. He was also a practitioner. This kind of journey was nothing to him. Ah, that's good. Master Lin, Chief Song, this way please. Who are these three? Tang Taijung didn't know Yushu or Xiaoka. Hidden House Yu's Yushu, Thief Sex Flying Sparrow Warrior, and Sky Elixir Sex Kong Ming Ming's brother's fiancé. Lin Yi gave a simple introduction. They're all my closest friends. I've heard a lot about you. Tang Taijung quickly cupped his fists and said. However, he had never heard of these three people before. Especially the last one, Kong Ming Ming of the Heavenly Elixir sect. He knew Elder Kong, but how did Kong Ming Ming's brother's fiancé get involved with Lin Yi? This Lin Yi was really amazing. How could this be possible? Then Kong Ming Ming agreed? However, he seemed to have agreed. Otherwise, why would he not even dare to fart until now? With that thought, Tang Taijung felt that Lin Yi was even more amazing. Elder Tang, you're really knowledgeable. Yushu used to be from the common house Qin. She just found out that she's from House Yu. She made up the name Flying Sparrow Warrior. Her name is Xiaoka. Lin Yi said. As for Wang Xinyan, I've already forced Kong Ming Ming to tell his brother to scram. She's my girlfriend now. Tang Taijung immediately blushed with shame. He had only said a few words of compliment. How could he have known that he had flattered the wrong person? He immediately felt a little depressed. The people around Mr. Lin are all ruthless people, so they must be famous. But he had heard that Lin Yi had actually forced Kong Ming Ming's brother to scram. Just how powerful did he have to be to force Kong Ming Ming to submit? The group entered the Tang house's guest room. Tang Taijung wanted to give the main seat to Lin Yi, but Lin Yi waved his hand and sat on the guest seat. Lin Yi didn't care at all. Elder Tang, it's not like we've never met before. Let's talk. Alright, I won't hold back. It's like this. With that, Tang Taijung told Lin Yi and the others about the things that had happened in the Tang property. Of course, these were all things that Tang Taijung had told Lingshan before. So you're saying that these people have been robbing us these past 2 days? Lin Yi asked. Yes, they came yesterday and the day before yesterday. They came consecutively. I don't know if they'll come again today. Tang Taijung said helplessly. Our hidden house Tang just started a lot of businesses in the common world. If this keeps up, we're going to go bankrupt. Although the hidden Tang family used to have business, it was all in the dark. Now that the Hidden Family Association's restrictions had failed, the Tang family became unscrupulous. Of course, it wasn't just the Tang family. Other hidden families were the same. Everyone ran to the common world to make money. Hidden families had many ways to make money anyway. As a matter of fact, the hidden Tang family wanted to earn a huge sum of money, so they invested all of their family's assets into many industries. The jewelry industry, the rare medicinal material industry, the retail and wholesale industry, the private loan industry, and so on. Originally, these industries had the support of House Tang and they were all thriving, but who would have thought that a group of robbers would suddenly appear and start robbing House Tang's properties? Jewelry stores, rare medicine stores, retail stores, private lending companies, all of them were robbed. However, House Tang couldn't close down, or else the companies that had just gained popularity would have to start all over again. So, House Tang could only ask for help from the Supernatural Investigation Bureau while replenishing their resources. If that's the case, then why don't we just go to your stores and have a look? If someone tries to rob us, we'll be able to act immediately? Lin Yi said after some thought. That's a good suggestion, but the problem is that House Tang's properties are very scattered. We have properties in many cities nearby. With so many properties, if we go to one, we might not even see the robbers for a month. Tang Taijung said with a bitter smile. Fuck, aren't you hidden houses not allowed to do business? Why do you have so many properties? When Lin Yi heard that these properties weren't in the same place, and were even in different areas, he glared at Tang Taijung. Then there's no other way. We can only wait until you get robbed and then we'll go catch the robbers. That's the only way. Tang Taijung nodded. Although he knew that there might be losses, at least Lin Yi's arrival could minimize the losses. Then everyone, let's go to the restaurant first? Then let's go. Lin Yi didn't have anything else to do, so he nodded and agreed. In order to get on Lin Yi's good side, Hidden House Tang had put in a lot of effort this time. The second Tang had the chefs pull out all the stops, making a feast that was similar to the Manchu Han Imperial Feast. Chapter 3384. Xinyan was a shy eater. This had always been her personality. Ling Shan, on the other hand, was worried about the case and so she only ate a little. Yushu was a foodie in the first place and Xiaoke didn't get to eat anything good in the orphanage. With so much good food in front of her, it would be a waste if she didn't eat it. Naturally, she wanted to eat as much as she could. As the two of them were eating happily, Tang Taizhong's cell phone suddenly rang. Tang Taizhong wanted to reject the call. He didn't want to disturb Lin Yi and the others, but Lin Yi stopped him. Answer it, it might be something. All right. Tang Taizhong nodded and quickly picked up the phone. However, after listening to 2 sentences, his face changed. What? The gold shop in Lihuan County got robbed? All right, I got it. Elder Tang, is something wrong? Lin Yi asked as he put down the cutlery in his hand. That's right, our hidden house Tang's shop in Lihuan County got robbed, and they're committing the crime right now. Tang Taizhong seemed very worried. Let's go now, Lingshan and I. Shu, Xiaoke, and Xinyan, you guys stay here and continue eating, we don't need you guys. Lin Yi said quickly. I can help you. Xiaoke threw the plate in her hands away. It's just some sky class early phase, it'll be fine. Lin Yi waved his hand. You guys are tired from the long journey and haven't eaten. Lingshan and I will be fine. All right. Xiaoke was very obedient, of course she listened to the male thief. She knew that Lin Yi wouldn't do anything he wasn't confident in, and if there really was danger, he wouldn't reject her. Lin Yi, Lingshan, Tang Taizhong and Boss Tang left the banquet hall quickly, and Lin Yi asked as they walked, how far is this Lihuan County from here? 40 minutes by car. Tang Taizhong said after some thought. Then we don't need to go. Lin Yi stopped. Ah. Tang Taizhong stared blankly for a moment before he immediately understood Lin Yi's meaning. He bitterly smiled and said, yeah, these people robbed very quickly. The slowest one didn't take more than 15 minutes. They came and left in a hurry. If we rush over now, we won't even see their shadows. Grandfather Tang, when did you start fighting with those people? How did you get there before those people left? Lin Yi asked. It's like this. The first place they robbed was one of the Tang family's own material management stations. This is the organization responsible for the daily expenses of our hidden Tang family. There are some natural treasures and cash in the station. Elder Tang replied, that place is relatively close to here, so I was able to get there in a short amount of time. I see. After that, the places they robbed became the Tang family's shops and companies? Lin Yi nodded and asked. Yes. Elder Tang sighed. It seems I have overlooked this point. Based on the current situation, it will be very difficult to fight them face to face. Let's not talk about that for now. What I find strange is, how did these robbers know what industries your Tang family owns? They even know which city and street it is located in. Isn't this too much of a coincidence? Could it be that you have a mole inside? Lin Yi couldn't help but suspect this. It was quite an inconceivable matter. That's not it. It's because the account books and distribution maps of these industries were in the material management station before. The material management station is also responsible for coordinating the cash flow of these shops. Those criminals got it when they robbed the material management station. Tang Taizhong explained. So that's how it is. Then you were really careless and gave yourself to the robbers. Lin Yi felt a headache coming on. Do you have a copy of the distribution map of your family's industries? Let me have a look. Yes. Tang Taizhong heard this and quickly turned to Elder Tang. Boss, go get second and Yu to the scene of the crime. Bring the distribution map of our family's industries here. Yes, father, eldest brother Tang replied and retreated. After a while, Elder Tang returned with a map of their hidden family's industries and spread it on an empty table in the dining room. Mr. Lin, look. Tang Taizhong pointed at a few industries on the map. These industries have been robbed and this is Lihuan County. The gold shop here was robbed today. Do you have the sequence of the robberies? Mark the sequence of the numbers. I'll see if I can find the pattern of the robbers' movements. Lin Yi said to Tang Taizhong. Lingshan's eyes lit up at Lin Yi's words. She couldn't help but admire Lin Yi. In fact, this was how she usually solved cases, but she was surprised that Lin Yi mentioned it. Lingshan admired Lin Yi's speed in solving cases, but Lin Yi didn't follow the rules. It was like the first time he found the bank robbers. He just walked around the cliff and found the location of the robbers. It was the same after that, so Lingshan thought that Lin Yi was using some special abilities of a practitioner to solve cases. But today it seemed that Lin Yi was very familiar with the process. Perhaps it was because there weren't many clues this time, so Lin Yi started following the normal procedure. Before, Lin Yi was confident that he could find the suspects directly. Alright. Tang Taijung quickly picked up his pen and started drawing on the map. But when he was done, Linny was speechless. This was a completely random crime. One day the next there was no pattern to follow. Many of the crime locations were completely different from each other. For the robbers, this was the most time-consuming method, but it was also the most effective way to avoid waiting for the right opportunity. It seemed that these robbers weren't afraid of anyone, but they were still worried about something. But this increased the difficulty of solving the case for Lin Yi and the others. Lingshan, what do you think? Lin Yi wasn't a professional after all. He had a lot of unique ways to solve cases, but he couldn't do anything about this kind of theory. Chapter 3385. If push comes to shove, we'll just have to wait at a place they haven't robbed before. Wait, Elder Tang, what do you mean by this? The third and sixth crime locations are the same? Yes, who would have thought that they'd go back to the same shop again? We just restocked the goods and got robbed again? Elder Tang said, troubled. It's a random crime and there's a possibility of going there again. That makes it harder for us to wait. Lingshan said as she slapped her forehead, evidently troubled. I think they might rob this place next time. Yushu walked over with a piece of tiramisu in her hand, sucking on her fingers as she pointed at an antique shop on the map. Is there any proof? Lingshan blinked, not understanding why Yushu would say that. I think so. Yushu didn't explain. What do you think? Prophet Shu's better than you, right? Prophet Shu? What a mess. Lingshan frowned. Shu, don't talk nonsense. You're targeting me, but don't bring your emotions into work. This kind of judgment can affect a lot of things. Lin Yi wanted to tell Yushu to stop messing around, but when she called herself Prophet Shu, he thought of something and his heart moved. Yushu's words had come true many times in the past, such as Zhao Qibing's skyscraper and legs. Lin Yi used to think that it was a coincidence, but after hearing Yuxing's words, Shu and Ning as prophets should have a sixth sense in this area. Then what she said about robbing an antique shop might really be possible. With that thought, Lin Yi said, let's go, we'll go set it up tonight. She'll bro trust Shu. Yushu was very pleased that Lin Yi listened to her. Lingshan paused. You trust her that much? We're just going to find a random place to wait for them anyways. Since Shu suggested it, we'll go here then. Lin Yi smiled casually. But the criminals didn't seem to have done anything to antique shops before. From a certain point of view, they probably wouldn't choose antique shops. After all, there's not much cash here and antiques aren't easy to cash out. Lingshan analyzed. If this was really in Jiang Wen's doing, he would be able to sell the drugs and firearms, let alone the antiques, Lin Yi said. Alright, let's go there then. Lingshan didn't really trust Yushu, but she trusted Lin Yi a lot. She nodded in agreement. Therefore they packed up and went to an antique shop in Keikai Town that very night. Keikai Town was an ancient town with a large antique market. The Tang family antique store was located there. Lin Yi was driving a Grand Cherokee, while eldest brother Tang Taijung, and the others were riding in a Land Cruiser. Both cars had excellent off-road performance, so it was not a problem for them to traverse the small roads of the ancient town. Lin Yi's guess was right, this was all Jiang Wen's doing. Jiang Wen had failed once in Donghai, and his plan to rob a hidden house had to be put on hold. After a period of silence, he saw that the time was right and decided to make a comeback, targeting the hidden house of Tang. First, Hidden House Tang was quite far from Donghai, and Lin Yi wouldn't bother with their business. Second, Hidden House Tang's business was very big, and they had invested in many profitable industries. It would be easy for them to get some benefits. Master Wen, I heard that Hidden House Tang asked for help from the Occult Investigation Department, and that bitch Lingshan got transferred to the department as the vice director. She's our bane. Chuanjie said unhappily. Why don't we just kill her and be done with it? No, that song girl is Lin Yi's woman. I hate Lin Yi, but that guy's getting more and more vicious these days, even ancient people aren't a match for him, it's best if I don't mess with him. He has a lot of people backing him now too. I didn't think that Meng Yao would become the palace master of the ancient night palace. I really can't get into a conflict with Lin Yi. Jiang Wen said hatefully. Just avoid that song girl, and if we really meet her, don't hurt her. Just retreat. Talk to the hypnotist later and give him an order. Understood. Chuanjie nodded. Then where should we rob tomorrow? Tomorrow? Jiang Wen opened up a map in front of him. It was a map of the properties he'd robbed from House Tang. This was a great weapon for robberies. Jiang Wen pointed at a location on the map. This antique shop, we've robbed so many gold shops, it's time for a change. We'll take some antiques and smuggle them out. Alright, I'll go set it up right away. Chuanjie replied. Lingshan didn't think that the robbers would target this antique shop, After all, the transportation here wasn't very convenient. From an escape perspective, it wasn't easy to run away from. There were only small roads in the fields, and even an off-road car wouldn't be able to go that fast. Of course, she was only thinking from the perspective of a normal criminal. Jianghu wouldn't even think about these problems. This place was 3 hours away from the Tang headquarters, and even if the roads weren't easy to run from, his men would be long gone by the time the Tang came. Plus, even if they did come, they might not be able to stop his men. This was why Jianghu was so fearless and chose to target House Tang alone. The shopkeeper of the antique shop was a former disciple of House Tang, only mystic mid-phase. He wasn't a match for the robbers at all, and he'd been under a lot of pressure these days. Now that Tang Taijung had come with help, he let out a breath of relief. Disciple Tang Xiaogui greets the head of the Tang family, young Master Tang, second Master Tang, and all the masters present. Tang Xiaogui said respectfully. You don't have to be so polite to us, but to these people, you have to be extremely respectful. This is Master Lin Yi, this is Director Song of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau, this is Miss Chen, Miss Wang, and Miss Yu. They are all powerful heroines. Tang Taijung introduced. Yes. Tang Xiaogui replied quickly. The food here was obviously not as good as that in the Tang family fort. Although Tang Taijung also tried his best to order banquets from the most famous restaurants in the town, the standard was not as good as that of the Tang family fort, and the variety of dishes were not as good. Chapter 3386. It was a quiet night. Lin Yi hugged Xinyan and practiced, while Xiaoka and Yushu laid beside Lin Yi. There were limited rooms here, and Lin Yi stayed here in case something unexpected happened. Yushu didn't want to stay in an inn, so they slept together with Lin Yi. Fortunately, Lin Yi, Yushu, and Xiaoka were close enough that they didn't need to be shy. They were tired too and fell asleep the moment they laid down. Lin Yi, on the other hand, kept an eye on the movements outside as he practiced. However, these robbers didn't seem to be working at night. They had been doing it in the day as if they were looking down on House Tang. They didn't want to commit crimes at night. The next day was uneventful as well. There were quite a few customers in the antique shop, but there weren't many transactions. Most of the customers paid with credit cards and very few paid with cash. This made Lingshan frown. She felt that the robbers shouldn't have chosen this shop with such a low cash flow. Morning, noon, and afternoon were quiet. The robbers didn't come here, nor did they come to the other shops of House Tang. Just when Lingshan thought that Yushu was bullshitting, a few people in white shirts and black pants barged into the antique shop without warning. After they came in without saying a word, they began to move things down from the antique shelves and move them to a white van at the entrance. Lin Yi had heard about how these people did things, but seeing it with his own eyes, he still felt that these people were too arrogant. They didn't put anyone in their eyes at all. However, Lin Yi felt that these people's eyes were a little dull, similar to the cyborgs Jianghu had made. Stop! Lin Yi shouted at one of the cyborgs. But the cyborgs didn't seem to hear him at all. Lin Yi had no choice but to block the cyborg's path. This time, the biohuman finally noticed Lin Yi. He threw the antique bottle in his hand at Lin Yi. These people were all following the hypnotist's instructions. They did not have their own thoughts, only instructions. The hypnotist had shown them Lingshan's picture, and Lingshan was on their whitelist. They wouldn't attack her, but Lin Yi wasn't. The cyborg, on the other hand, started attacking Lin Yi the moment he was stopped. This antique bottle was worth at least a few 100,000 yuan. Although Lin Yi had the money, he didn't want to waste it. He directly put it into the space of the jade pendant. Anyway, it was a mess now and no one would ask about this. He could just give a perfunctory answer afterwards. Tang Taijung wouldn't dare to ask too much. Indeed, although Tang Taijung was puzzled about where the bottle went, he didn't even dare to fart. There was no other reason. He was afraid of affecting Lin Yi's battle. If it distracted Lin Yi, he would be guilty. So, if a broken bottle was gone, then so be it. It didn't matter how it disappeared. Boom. Lin Yi threw a punch at the robber in front of him. He only used the 10th form of Frenzy Fist. His goal was to test the strength of this cyborg in front of him. However, what disappointed Lin Yi was that he only used the 10th form of Frenzy Fist, and the cyborg's chest caved in. The cyborg was sent flying and fell to the ground. He spat out mouthfuls of blood and struggled, but he couldn't get up. This kind of strength was not a strong opponent at all. Logically speaking, with Tang Taijung's strength, he could easily kill these people. Why was he injured instead? Lin Yi was puzzled, but what happened next solved his doubts. The cyborgs who were moving the antiques felt that their companion was being attacked. They all put down what they were doing and attacked Lin Yi together. There were a total of 5 people left and all of them attacked Lin Yi. When Yu Xiaoka saw this scene, she instantly panicked. She wanted to use Nua's heaven-mending technique to protect Lin Yi. However, Lin Yi saw this and shook his head saying, "There's no need. I'll test their strength first. If it doesn't work, I'll call you." "Okay." Yu Xiaoke nodded, but she still used the mantra. However, she didn't use it. She was just prepared. The 5 people attacked Lin Yi at the same time. Lin Yi used the mantra to defend himself and then he hit one of them. Boom. 4 fists landed on Lin Yi at the same time. Only one person was sent flying by Lin Yi. Lin Yi still used the 10th form of Frenzy Fist. Early stage of Heaven class. Lin Yi felt the strength of these 4 people. They attacked together. Even if Lin Yi used pure Qi to protect his body, he still almost vomited blood. He quickly used the mantra to heal his injuries. Although the injuries were not serious, Lin Yi finally understood how Tang Taijung got injured. At most he could fight 5. He attacked one person and the others attacked him at the same time. It would be strange if he didn't get injured. If it wasn't for the fact that Lin Yi's strength was much higher than theirs, and Lin Yi could heal his injuries quickly, he would really be injured. And so, Lin Yi did the same thing, taking out every single biohuman one by one. He couldn't avoid taking a few more punches, but the good thing was that these people didn't have any sort of pattern to their attacks. They were all direct, and Lin Yi was able to react and defend with ease. The robbers were all beaten to the ground by Lin Yi. The first 5 Lin Yi didn't show any mercy. Looking at the degree of damage to their chests, they probably wouldn't last long. But the last one, Lin Yi only knocked him to the ground, temporarily incapacitating him. Lin Yi wanted to keep at least one person alive, although Lin Yi didn't think that he would be able to get anything out of them. Lingshan, capture this person and hand the rest to Elder Tang. Send them to the cemetery. Lin Yi said. All right. Lingshan skillfully cuffed the last biohuman. The others were clearly not going to survive. Tang Taijung immediately ordered the Tang disciples to help, dragging them away. The antiques that were moved to the car were also returned. Tang Taijung was very grateful to Lin Yi. If it weren't for Lin Yi, he would have lost a lot of money today. Not to mention he would have lost tens of millions. Young hero Lin, thank you for helping us today. Tang Taijung said gratefully. I've prepared a small gift for you. I hope you won't reject it. What is it? Lin Yi didn't pretend to be polite and asked directly. Chapter 3387. Plus, Tang Taijung was really afraid that Lin Yi wouldn't want it. He wanted to build a relationship with Lin Yi so that he could trouble Lin Yi the next time, so he had to make Lin Yi happy. It's a bowl used by a leader of the Everyday and Everyday sect. It's a rare antique. How much is it worth? Lin Yi asked back. This. If it's the market price, it should be around 10 to 20 million, right? Tang Taijung didn't expect Lin Yi to ask like that, but he still made a rough estimate. After all, any practitioner house that got their hands on something like this wouldn't sell it easily. This was something that could be traded for training resources, and it couldn't be measured with money. Oh, then 15 million. I'll give you an account number and you can transfer the money over. Lin Yi said directly. You can keep the bowl for yourself or you can sell it to the Everyday and Everyday sect. You can get a good price. Ugh, isn't it just 15 million? I'll give you 20 million. Hero Lin, you misunderstood me. This bowl is a thank you gift and I'm not done yet. Tang Taijung gave the bowl to Lin Yi because he thought that Lin Yi wouldn't lack money. Lin Yi's cauldron was a very profitable item, so he didn't mention money. If he knew that Lin Yi liked money, he would have asked first. Well, that's fine. Xiaoke, give him the account number. Lin Yi wasn't very interested in the bowl, so he put it in the jade space. The account number is XXXXX, and the name is Songshan Orphanage. Xiaoke said. Okay, I'll remember. Tang Taijung paused. He realized that Lin Yi was doing this for the orphanage, not for himself. But it didn't matter, the money was given because of Lin Yi. It didn't matter who he gave it to as long as Lin Yi was grateful. If there's nothing else, let's go back first. Lin Yi looked at Yushu surprised. It seemed that Yushu's prophecy ability was real. Yu Xing's words made sense. Okay, I will arrange the car. Tang Taijung quickly responded. Little Shu, I really have to thank you this time. I didn't expect you to be able to guess their crime location. Lingshan, on the other hand, was very straightforward. Yushu had guessed the location correctly, and that was why she and Lin Yi were able to get rid of the robbers. They'd even captured one of them. Yushu, other than Lin Yi, was the biggest contributor. What do you think? Are you convinced now? Yushu said proudly. So what if I admire you for solving the case? Lingshan, on the other hand, didn't let her emotions affect her decisions. She said seriously, Shu, do you think the robbers will commit more crimes? Where is their next target? It's still here, Yushu said. It's still here? Lingshan paused. Tang Taijung, who had just gone to prepare the car, paused as well. He quickly asked, "Young Master Lin, Chief Song, should we stay here for a while?" Tang Taijung trusted Yushu very much. She was a prophet after all. She said they would rob an antique shop, so there had to be a reason why Yushu said the robbers would come again. "We have to." Lin Yi shook his head. "They've lost this time, logically speaking we wouldn't stay here. The robbers have the same thought, so they'll do the opposite. If we stay here and they see us, they won't move." "You're right." Tang Taijung nodded. "Then what should we do?" "We'll pretend to leave first and find a place to stay. We'll be able to get to this place as soon as possible," Lin Yi said. "That's the only way." "Thank you, young Master Lin," Tang Taijung said quickly. "Trouble is secondary. I've helped House Tang solve their problem, so shouldn't we talk business?" Lin Yi said faintly as he looked at Tang Taijung. "What business?" Tang Taijung paused. He thought that Lin Yi wanted some sort of reward. After all, the reward was only for helping out this time. If he wanted Lin Yi to stay here, he'd have to pay a price. Why else would Lin Yi keep helping him? "Let's find a place to stay first. We'll talk later." Lin Yi waved his hand and walked out. Chapter 3388. That's. Tang Taijung paused. He didn't expect Lin Yi to be talking about this. In actuality, how could Tang Taijung not know that the department controlled the common houses? But there weren't many of them that they could actually control. They could only coordinate among them. The one who was truly effective was Lin Yi. Lin Yi's cultivator union made these common houses submit to Lin Yi, listening to Lin Yi's orders. Only then did the department's words matter. Now, the department was probably starting to make a move on the hidden houses. Should he agree or not? Logically speaking, House Tang asking for help from the department was equivalent to throwing out an olive branch, but House Tang was more inclined towards a cooperative relationship. Things could be discussed and not controlled. But since Lin Yi had said it, he didn't dare to reject, and he was afraid of losing face for the hidden houses. Next, I'm preparing to expand the scope of the Practitioners Association. My Practitioners Association and the Supernatural Investigation Department are two different groups. I've already appointed Lingshan as the vice chairwoman, helping me manage these things. Lin Yi didn't wait for Tang Taijung's reply and continued, "The hidden houses that join the Cultivator Union will receive my protection, but they'll also have to accept Chairman Song's management. Of course, we won't care if anything happens to those who don't join. After all, our energy is limited, and we can only help the members of the Cultivator Union. Elder Tang, what's your decision?" It's young hero Lin's Cultivators Society. I know that. I've been wanting to join for a long time. I heard that Hidden House Han, House Zhuang, and House Pai are all members?" Tang Taijung asked. "Yes, they're definitely the first batch." Lin Yi nodded. "The rest is up to you, Elder Tang. If you agree now, you'll be one of the first batch. You'll be treated differently." "Alright, I'll join." Tang Taijung didn't hesitate anymore and made the decision. Hidden House Tang is willing to join young hero Lin's Cultivator Union, and will be under Chairman Song's management. "Well, if that's the case, then there's nothing else. I'm going to rest. I still have to fight the robbers tomorrow." Lin Yi nodded with satisfaction. Things were going well. Of course, if it weren't for the robbers, the hidden Tang family probably wouldn't have agreed so easily. After all, the situation was pressing. "Alright, young hero Lin, please." Tang Taijung hurriedly stood up to send him off. Tang Yuyu and the others also stood up. Lin Yi nodded and went to rest, but Yushu and Lingshan had to be in the same room as Lin Yi. Xiaoke had to join them as well. Still, Lin Yi wasn't actually going to sleep. He was training with Xinyan in his arms, and it didn't really matter if there was one more or one less person in the room. And so, a rather ridiculous scene happened at night. Lin Yi hugged Xinyan and laid on the bed. Lingshan, on the other hand, was very happy today. The Occult Investigation Department was going to shine in her hands. In the past, the department couldn't even control the noble houses, but now they could control the hidden noble houses. Only Lingshan could understand the difference. The Occult Investigation Department was finally strong, and Lingshan, as the vice director, felt very proud. And so, in her heart, Lingshan loved Lin Yi very much. Seeing Lin Yi hugging Xinyan on the bed, she couldn't wait to lie down on the other side of Lin Yi. It wasn't that she was in a rush, but this was the only way she could express her gratitude and love for Lin Yi. But seeing that Lingshan was on the bed, Yushu wasn't going to back down. "Hey, Song Fox, I'm Shield Bro's small wife and I'm the one who solved the case today. I want to sleep next to Shield Bro." Lingshan didn't want to let Yushu have it. She was the one who took the initiative, so how could she let someone else have it? She was usually very domineering towards other people, But remembering that Yushu was the one who solved the case today, she hesitated and moved away. I'll let you sleep then. Oh. Yushu didn't hold back and happily laid down next to Lin Yi. But when it came to Xiaoka, she didn't fight for it anymore. No matter what, the male thief would always belong to her, and the others could do whatever they wanted. Xiaoka laid down quietly next to Lingshan. They were both very petite, and the 1.8-meter-long bed was more than enough for them to sleep on. Actually, no one dared to do anything sneakily when sleeping on the same bed. Even Yushu didn't dare move recklessly because Lin Yi was in the middle of practicing. It wouldn't be a joke if he went crazy. Yushu could still remember the last time she went crazy. If it weren't for Tang Yun, Lin Yi wouldn't have woken up at all. These days he'd been fighting and running all the time. Even a god of war like Lin Yi was feeling a bit tired. But with Xinyan's help, the more energy he used up, the easier it was for him to replenish his energy at night. These days he could clearly feel that his third stage of the art of dragon mastery was showing signs of completion, and this was a very pleasant surprise to him. However, reaching the perfection of the third level of the art of dragon mastery was just the beginning. He still needed to forge a heaven-ranked weapon of his own. Only with a heaven-ranked weapon could he open the fourth stone door. Who knew what kind of benefits lay behind the fourth stone door? Lin Yi was looking forward to it. Yushu